They don't have the temp. 604 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing, starting you off at 25 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge as we are broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. We got two shows in one today, y'all. It'll be the duality of a Monday. Here's what we got going on. Of course, there's the freeze, the winter storm. We prep for all that going into the weekend. And while here doesn't feel like a whole lot, while here you're probably off. We're probably very lonely this early in the morning. But statewide, there was a lot going on. So we will have our normal Monday show, but we will also be checking in with Rodney Mallett from DOTD. We'll check in with Clay Rives from MOSEP, Mayor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. And we'll see if we can't run down a couple of other updates as the show wears on this morning. But let's go ahead and get things started. Top stories and trending. Let's go.
Stories and trending presented by Baton Rouge Metro Airport starts now on Talk 107.3. Number 5.
All school campuses in the listening area are closed because of the weather today, up to and including the colleges and universities. Now, some schools are opting for remote learning today. Get the latest from your individual school. Don't rely on news reports. Go directly to the source. Also, city parish governmental offices are closed as well. With the freezing temperatures, GOSEP has opened warming centers throughout the state. Here in EBR, you can find them at the main branch of the public library, 7711 Goodwood Boulevard, Salvation Army at 7361 Airline Highway, St. Vincent de Paul at 220 St. Vincent de Paul Drive, and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center at 4000 Gus Young Avenue. Baton Rouge Metro Airport not immune to the cancellations as a result of the winter storms. The first 3 flights out this morning, 2 to Dallas and 1 to Philadelphia, have all been canceled. Meanwhile, the flights coming in, I don't believe anything's arrived yet. It's not a problem here. It's a problem there. Wherever else there is, when you're talking about a winter storm that's 2,000 miles wide, it covers a few airports. Now, as always, check flybtr.com for the latest on your particular flight. To go along with the shutting down of city parish offices, all garbage, recycling, and out-of-cart collection services will be canceled today. Additionally, the North Landfill and Starwood Court Collection Facility will be closed. Services will resume on the residents' next regularly scheduled collection day. We are not done with the freezing temps, but we will be out of them for a little while. You got a high today getting up to 40. Tonight, we're going to dip back down to 20 again. So look for below freezing over the course of the next 3 nights, tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday night, before we start to creep back above 32 for your overnight lows. What you got, Breland?
This is unfortunate, but so far there have been at least 9 reported fatalities as a result of the winter weather.
This is a big storm, and I don't know that it's gotten as much coverage on the way in as it should have. And like it's 2026, people shouldn't be dying from storms anymore. Like that's 9. You think about that. How many Cat 3 or above hurricanes have killed fewer people.
Right.
And to have that confirmed number this quickly on the back end, I'm assuming that number is going to go up from people they haven't found yet, right? People just haven't reported somebody in their home with no power, and you'll get to the power in just a minute. But I feel like this storm on its way in was very much underreported.
I was about to say that too.
And you know where that's going from there. Yeah. It's because all anybody cares about is in Minneapolis. Up to and including Saturday morning. So if all of our attention is on hating each other, there was no reporting on what was going to kill some of us.
Right. So. And I understand down here we're not built for the cold, but like you said, it's 2026.
Right.
There's generators. There's so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's warm. Like we have, GOSEP has warming centers throughout the state, which we talked about the ones that are here in EBR, but they're all over Louisiana. So, I mean, before the storm, people evacuate for a hurricane. If okay, the power goes out at the drop of a hat. There's people that live in places where the power goes out at the drop of a hat. find yourself someplace warm to get to.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Keeping it with the storm nationwide, over 800,000 people are without power from the storm. 113,000 of those are here in Louisiana.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's
Goodness.
well, but you think about that's kind of a low number when you consider 2,000-mile wide storm and the amount of snow and sleet and ice left in its wake. And just again, underreported.
I know. Well, and I kept hearing on the news, massive snowstorm, massive, but
but it wasn't in the A block. And like, I don't want to be like short attention span theater about it, but if you could start off by talking about ice, not ice as in what was falling from the sky, but like
Catahoula Crunch.
Right. If you start off by talking about immigration and you continue with immigration, and then your third story is immigration, and then your fourth story is there's a storm coming that's going to kill us all. By that time, how many people are clocked out? How many people have dialed out?
Right.
Yes, it was on the news. You and I heard it a lot because we sit in here, we listen to the news the whole time. But like
your average person, correct?
Yeah.
President Trump is skipping this year's Super Bowl. He says he doesn't like the halftime performers.
What? I thought he was a big Bad Bunny guy.
Right? Well, I thought because every time the camera pans to him in the stands, he's loving it.
Yeah.
He's dancing. He's doing his thing.
That ain't Bad Bunny, though. I mean, that's what Bad Bunny's what, Puerto Rican?
I think, yeah.
Puerto Rican?
Yeah. Puerto Rican, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I hear him because there's some years that the halftime show, I just could have lived without it. It just wasn't good. But
so they reach and then they reel in. They reach and then they reel in. Next year will probably be, one of
decent.
Yeah. You should bring it back into one that like a Bruno Mars that everybody's gonna love.
Yep. That's true. President Trump is skipping this year's.
Has nothing to do with the play on the field.
Right.
And
I'm sure Trump loves the game, but I love how he is skipping this year's Super Bowl.
Yeah, just
okay.
Because he doesn't like the halftime show. Well, how about this? Don't watch the halftime show.
Right, turn it off.
There's 4 quarters worth of football, the best football in the country.
Right.
Like we all tune in for this.
Take that time to get up and go get his Diet Coke.
Yeah, go get a Diet Coke. Go get yourself a Diet Coke. Maybe talk with some people. There's gonna network a little bit. It's a working time.
Right.
And
then come on back.
Right.
Mercy.
We'll talk a little more about the Super Bowl on the back end. We got to take a quick break. Hey, before we take that break, though, want to remind you about the folks over at Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org is the website. IndustryMakes.org. If you're wondering what they do, who they are, and Industry Makes, let me give you a little bit of background here. I love that they've put this together. Industry Makes is a campaign born out of collaboration and a need to present a united industrial front in the face of coordinated anti-industrial messaging. Think about it. Every time that there's a new project coming out, every time there's this potential for new jobs coming around, there's somebody who's going to protest it saying it's bad for us, right? When in actuality, that's jobs for us. It's products, it's merchandise, it's manufacturing, it's the things that make the nation run. Well, who's here to speak up on their behalf? That's Industry Makes. Anti-industrial messages may target one company or several, but they hurt the entire manufacturing industry, which, by the way, is the backbone of our economy. The backbone of our economy is twofold, right? Manufacturing and then all the small businesses that service said manufacturing. I tell you what, you want to learn more? Visit industrymakes.org. Say what? No, I'm good on this side. I sent you Sam Darnold and Mike Vrabel.
You did.
Okay. Yeah. We'll start with Mike Vrabel.
Okay. Are we still doing this day?
Yeah.
And Medical Monday, is that in the folder?
Should be.
mouse and this thing just being so slow.
Michelle, it knows, but I put in for the help desk on the mouse. Michelle texted me at like 8:00 on Friday night saying, is it wired or wireless mouse? And I'm like, holy crap, girl, tell me you're not working right now. Clock out. I know she is.
I'll send her an email at 9:00 at night just because I don't want to text her and I know it's not important. And then she'll
well, and this was one that was like mid-level importance because you need that to run the show.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, though, it's partially working.
Right. And I'm like, I was talking to her yesterday. I said, Michelle, stop. I know. She says.
By the way, I did not expect to get so emotional Saturday night. That was like, I was over, like, Flynn, when he started off by saying, like, we're taking bets on whether or not I'm going to cry. I'm like, I'm crying.
Well,
I just.
What did it for me was when Flynn pulled out his dad's passport. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And because he got emotional about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, I look at Michelle and I'm going.
The video when Gordy was talking about being part of a community, oh yeah, I started welling up with tears quick, and I was just emotional the rest of the night.
Aww.
Yeah, and then I got really, really drunk at the Mardi Gras ball, so like really drunk.
Right, you're already emotional.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, I switched liquors, so I went from tequila to old fashions. That wasn't smart. No, much headache on Sunday. Okay. The NFL not immune to the winter storm. 616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. It is time for sports. Breland, you give me a thumbs up when you know you've got it over there. Okay. NFL action yesterday. We had the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship. Let's go ahead and start off with the AFC, where the Patriots were a 10-7 winner in a game that quickly devolved in the second half because of the weather. In fact, Mike Vrabel was asked after the fact when he knew it was going to play out the way it played out.
Well, I mean, I would say halfway through the third quarter. I think when we got that field goal, and again, wished it would have been able to be a touchdown, but it wasn't. And then, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And our defense was playing really good, and we were able to do just enough offensively to give them a break. And, even kicking the football and the operation. And I mean, that stuff is things that you can't really replicate back home.
If you watch the game, Sean Payton got cute earlier going forward on a fourth down where he could have kicked a field goal, which would have meant it was 10-10. So, but that's what you get with Sean Payton, because it was that same cute that probably got them to the game. I mean, I'm not going to backtrack throughout the whole season to see where he won some, but you do win some, lose some when you got Coach Payton. Meanwhile, on the NFC side, wow, 31-27, your final score, 58 points scored between the Rams and the Seahawks. At Seattle. Do you have the other one? Okay. Sam Darnold, what's it like? This was on Fox TV after the game. Sam Darnold, what's it like heading to the Super Bowl?
What does the moment mean? You're going to the Super Bowl.
It's amazing to be able to do it with these guys, though, in this locker room, with this coaching staff. That's why it means the world to me.
How do you describe the journey it took to get here, Sam?
Oh, I haven't really thought about that much, so I'm going to be honest with you. But, no, it's just I take it one day at a time. That's it. One day at a time, every single day. And like I said, to be able to do it with these guys out here, this locker room, it's a special group, and I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else.
Appreciate it, Sam. Well done. Congrats.
Excellent.
Moving from the NFL over to women's college basketball, LSU was supposed to play 7 o'clock tonight. They're moving that tip-off up by an hour to 6 p.m., 5:30 airtime here on Talk 107.3 FM. Obviously, the move up in time is due to the expected freezing temperature overnight. So, the quicker you get in the PMAC, the quicker you get out. The quicker you get out, the quicker you get home, and hopefully home with a nice victory for LSU women, who have definitely righted the ship, to be sure. So you'll hear the game. Patrick Wright, Shida Williams will be on the call right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Like we said, 5:30 airtime, 6 o'clock tip. It is 6:20 at Talk 107.3 FM. Which means we're going to check the Fox Business Report. We'll pick it back up next on Talk 107.3. Do.
It's like it's not registering what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So I'm having to toggle between you cut.
But the mouse itself, like it's going where it needs to go. The clicking isn't working, or at least that's what I had on Friday.
Mine's just the clicking isn't working, and it takes it like 30 seconds to register what I'm trying to do.
Right.
Oh, man. Because I'm trying to get to your medical Monday right now. I did not get a cigar, by the way. Not that I smoke, but I was going to get one for my dad. A guaranteed 100 cigar.
Yeah, I should have gotten one just for the memorabilia of it.
Yeah.
I love a good cigar, but they don't love me back.
You're not like Matt Moscona. Always.
Piss.
This is killing me. Did you try to restart it?
Restart the whole computer? No, I did not.
Helping neighbors in need through our commitment to feed, clothe, house, and heal. STDPVR.org.
Now, a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
All right, so the incident list that we have shows or is telling me there's congestion on I-12 westbound by Sherwood. However, my map is telling me otherwise. It's looking really, really good on the interstates right now. Obviously, we're not expecting a whole lot of volume today as governmental offices are closed, schools are closed, a whole lot of people are off of work, a whole lot of people have been shrunk down to non-essential personnel or essential personnel. So we're not expecting a ton of volume on the roads this morning. If I'm looking at the map, it's great. I-12 westbound is moving on its way in from Denham Springs. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension is always good. I-10 eastbound coming across the river from West Baton Rouge looks good, as does 110, and there are no surface street accidents to report. So your morning, as expected, your morning's looking good with a lot lighter volume out there on the roads. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Just to get me through the show. Because it's going to
Ooh. 624 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Every year, Louisiana's leaders, influencers, and decision makers head to Washington, D.C. for Washington Mardi Gras, and Talk 107.3 will be right in the middle of it once again. Join me Thursday, January 29th and Friday the 30th as we broadcast live from the Washington Hilton for Mornings with Brian Haldane, plus 2 special afternoon drive shows from 4 to 6 p.m. Our coverage, of course, presented by Presley Wealth Management, Rev, the Louisiana Mid-Continent Oil and Gas Association, Fly BTR, or the Baton Rouge Metro Airport, and Restore the Mississippi River Delta. Speaking of Fly BTR, I'm supposed to be telling you about them right now because I have it on my rundown to check in to see, well, nationwide, flights are being delayed everywhere. What's the status right here? As we head in top stories and trending, the first 3 flights that were leaving out of Baton Rouge were canceled. What did that mean moving forward? Well, checking back in with it, the flight to Atlanta has departed. The flight to Washington, D.C., however, was supposed to leave right about now. It is already delayed. The next flight out is 7 a.m. to Houston, Texas. That is still as scheduled as for right now. But it's going to be a little bit touchy as we move forward because, well, it's where are you going to? Were they in the path of the storm? More importantly, where was that previous plane coming from? Was it in the path of the storm? So just there's going to be a whole lot to follow. Flybtr.com for the latest. Flybtr.com. I can tell you as far as arrivals are concerned, the first there was a flight that was supposed to come in last night from Dallas, Fort Worth. That is still in a delayed status, although it's all the way overnight. The next flight that's scheduled to land at BTR is not until just before 10 o'clock. Flight coming in from Atlanta is still as scheduled. The 10 a.m. flight coming in from Burlington, Vermont has already been canceled. And then as of right now, everything after that, everything after 10 a.m. is still as scheduled. But as always, when you have a flight, check your direct flight at flybtr.com. And oh, by the way, while you're there, if you got a little downtime this morning, maybe you don't have to report into the office, got a little downtime as you're making your travel plans throughout the year, I always recommend the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. Flybtr.com is their home base. When you're looking at making travel arrangements, look at the whole picture, okay? You can look at what is your favorite part about it, right? Probably, if not direct flight, then cheapest cost. Well, look at the cheapest overall cost, because when you look at just a direct flight, you got to include driving an hour down the road or an hour back if they don't have direct flights from BTR. You got to look at the exorbitant parking costs down the road. You got to look at the TSA maze that's down the road versus TSA right here at Baton Rouge Metro, which is a downright pleasurable experience versus the maze and the rudeness and all that other stuff. Flybtr.com is where you want to go to find out all the flight information. All right, we're going to have news coming your way about 2.5 minutes from right at 3 minutes from right now. On the backside of news, we're going to talk with David Ibsen a little bit about free markets overall. We'll dive into a couple of more specific topics there. If you're wondering about the storm and the closures and all that good stuff, it's super duper simple, y'all. As of right now, or for today, all the school campuses in the listening area are closed. I can run you down the entire list if you want to. Just know that if you can hear my voice, and you're not online, if you can hear my voice over the air, school campuses are closed. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have school today, okay? There are certain schools around where they are going remote learning today. In fact, I know it's, well, let me find the list again. As I had it open and then I closed it. And I knew I was going back to it. So LSU campus is closed, but remote learning is up to the individual professor or individual instructor. I believe that's the same for Southern University. When you look at the grade schools and whatnot, I want to say it is West Feliciana. Nope, East Feliciana Parish is switching to remote learning today. The other ones that we're looking for here, most of on the university level, here we go, colleges, universities, BRCC, remote learning. Southern University, remote learning today. By the way, if you live on Southern's campus, dining halls will be open as of 11. LSU's physical campus is closed today. There's the option of remote learning is left up to instructors. Fran U going remote learning today as well. But always don't rely specifically on the media. Check out with your school specifically. Communication lines are always open via email and whatnot. So that's the story on the airport front. That's the story on the schools front. On the governmental offices and services, all city parish offices are closed today out of an abundance of caution. We're going to talk with Clay Rives from MOSEP, the Mayor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. We're going to talk with him at 7:05. And we're going to boot out top stories and trending in order to do that, just to get a look at, what preps were made in and around Baton Rouge. How did we fare? How did we do? Coming up at 6:50, we're going to talk with Rodney Mallett from DOTD. Now, while we are not the story, North Louisiana is part of the story, where 113,000 plus people are without power to start off the morning. We're going to check in with Rodney about how our neighbors to the north have done thus far, and what it's looking like on the path to getting back out there and getting things up and running again. And will we see anything, further beyond this because the temps are going to dip back down below freezing again tonight. So we got news coming your way. We'll start off with ABC News. We'll go local after that with our news partners, the Louisiana Radio Network. We will check traffic. We will check weather. And then we're going to pivot over and talk a little bit about a free market economy. David Ibsen is going to join us next on Talk 107.3. What?
Right? A woman ran over by a snowplow. Matt says disabled vehicle on overpass at Sherwood.
Okay.
Precipitation has moved out of state, but the frigid temperatures are here. And amid those very cold temperatures, State Fire Marshal's office is concerned we'll see a rash of house fires as people try to stay warm. State Fire Marshal Brian Haldane says if you're using a space heater,
You got your heater on down there?
I do.
Eventually, I'll be able to fill it up here. Let me see.
It's right there. Yeah, if there were outlets over here, I would move it to where it would hit both of us.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I know we don't have an outlet right here. What we do? Do we? No, we do.
Do I want to put it on an extension cord
I don't think so.
when we burn down the building?
Yeah, let's not do that. Keep it on your sides. It'll catch up because it's putting out some heat.
Yeah. The problem is, like, I will melt before it gets to you.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, I'm dying.
Letla was elected to the U.S. House in a 2021 special election to replace her husband Luke, who died of complications of COVID-19. Meanwhile, Cassidy has called for a full joint federal and state investigation.
Alan, what is the temperature up there right now?
Oh, bro, Alan hit me up on Twitter last night with some pictures or a video. He's getting clobbered.
Lord.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. This report is sponsored by Blindster.com. Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindster. I started Blindster in my garage back in 2010. Since then, we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters nationwide. Our blinds are DIY friendly, guaranteed to fit, and always cheaper than big box stores. Blindster.com. This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Buying or selling a new home? Mid-City Title makes it easy. Mobile closings, expert services, MidCityTitle.com.
Hi, David. Good morning. Hey, it's Talk 107.3. Hey, we're going to come to you in about 2 minutes, okay? Okay. Damn. Oh, Lord. Alan says 5 degrees.
No can do.
Damn, Alan. Alan, that's cold as hell.
Bro.
Sunshine will return today, but don't expect temperatures to rise much. Highs should reach the upper 30s, and wind chills will stay in the 20s. Another cold one tonight as lows dip to near 20 under clear skies. Sunshine returns Tuesday with highs in the mid to upper 40s. Another freeze Tuesday night with lows back in the 20s. A little warmer for Wednesday and highs back in the 50s, but that's still a good 10 degrees cooler than normal for late January. A few showers will end the work week. I'm meteorologist Dave Baker with your storm station forecast, WBRZ, Channel 2.
From Mid-City to Manchac, Baton Rouge talks here. Talk 107.3.
Six 636 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Like we said, we're gonna be pivoting back and forth between the freeze and no, not the Van Broussard dance, the freeze and the normal Monday show. I want to talk a little bit about free markets and welcome in David Ibsen. He is well, should say welcome back. He's been on the show before. He is with Americans for Free Markets. David, welcome back. How are you, man?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing very well. We got a number of different places we can dive in and start off. I kind of want to start with what AFFM does. Tell me a little bit about the Americans for Free Markets.
Sure, happy to. So Americans for Free Markets, we're a coalition of business and community groups who work in support of free market economic growth across key sectors in the U.S., so financial services, artificial intelligence, energy permitting, and many more. We work to empower businesses so they can make decisions in the best interest of their customers and shareholders, and make sure that they're not being inappropriately interfered with by government micromanagers or politicized regulators. So supporting competition, protecting taxpayers, championing capitalism, preventing government overreach, that's all it is.
Translate that to the real world, though. I mean, let's take that from theory to where it applies in real life. In fact, you had penned an op-ed in the Hill not long ago about the Bank Secrecy Act. What are we facing right there, and what kind of outcome are you hoping for?
Well, that's one of the biggest issues that AFFM is focused on right now in the financial services banking sector. We're really looking to ensure fair access to banking for all Americans. It's been an issue that we've been working on for about a year or so or more. You know, the issue being that you have government regulators who, under the Obama and Biden administration, have, I think, really unfairly pressured banks not to provide services to certain disfavored industries or certain individuals. It's something that we think is, totally outrageous. It's not in the best interest of the country. It's not in the best interest of the banks, and it's certainly not in the best interest of American consumers.
Talking with David Ibsen from AFFM, a little bit about what's some areas where the free market's being challenged. With the Bank Secrecy Act, it's not. I mean, this has been around since 1970. Why is it becoming a problem now?
Well, I would argue that it's been a problem. When it first was enacted back then in 1970, I think people didn't think it was going to become so all-comprehensive and have such an impact on so many different American consumers. When the Bank Secrecy Act was passed, they were looking at transactions that were $10,000, for example, or maybe $3,000, and those transactions would come under government scrutiny. And in 1970, that seemed like a lot of money. But that threshold hasn't been changed in about 55 years. So if you adjust it for inflation, $10,000 now would be about $88,000 or $90,000. So you're looking at individuals who are going about their daily lives, having regular bank transactions, buying things, purchase things, trying to make payroll for their businesses, and all these transactions are being kind of gobbled up by the government and then preserved to then examined at a later date. And because of the secrecy of the Bank Secrecy Act, oftentimes individuals get caught up in this government scrutiny and they go to the bank to ask what's happened to my transaction, what's happened to my payroll, what's happened to my incoming transfer. and the banks by law are forbidden from telling you, what's going on there. So that leads to a lot of suspicion and paranoia on behalf of consumers, and also a lot of frustration, and it disrupts regular banking transactions across the country.
Who could this affect? Like, give me some examples of like who would be in, I don't want to say the crosshairs because I don't want to, generate, but like who would this negatively affect?
Well, I think it's worth pointing out that, there are probably some individuals who are engaged in illegal activity who are rightly detected by the Bank Secrecy Act, and that's a good thing. But we also don't really know, because we don't really have a good idea about how many of these transactions actually lead to different criminal prosecutions. And some of the different reports say that there's millions and millions and millions of these reports of transactions that are flagged. So to give you an example, say you just had regular transactions over the course of a year. You were transferring $1,000 here, $2,000 here. Then something happened in your life. There was a major event. There was a windfall of some kind, and you started making a transaction of $20,000 maybe, or $10,000, or even something close to $10,000, $9,000.
Right.
All of a sudden now, the banks would be forced, because of this government law, to then flag your transaction and create a report about it. And now all of a sudden you are engaged in potentially a suspicious activity. So the intent of the law is to target criminals, money launderers, drug traffickers, whatever, terror financiers. But because it's just so broad, and because the secrecy around it is so opaque, anyone engaged in any kind of transaction could potentially be caught up in that direct net.
Well, and that's where the problem seems to be twofold. If I'm reading this right, David, the problem seems to be twofold. Number one, no adjustment on the numbers. But number two, who is and is not, or who could and could not be construed as a criminal, it can vary by day to day, or vary by who's in charge.
Yeah, that's totally right. And I think it goes back to the idea of how the banks can disclose to the customers or the person who's being targeted what's going on.
Right.
So you might have a transaction that's being flagged. You want to know what's going on. The bank by law can't even tell you. I think the bank would like to be able to tell you. And actually they've said this, Reform Bank Secrecy Act. Let us explain to customers what's going on, why the transaction flag is unusual. We can explain it to them, and then maybe they can take some kind of remedial action. But because that's not going on, like you said, it's twofold. You have the dollar amount itself, and then the secrecy around the implementation of the law that causes all this confusion and all this frustration. That's why it needs to be reformed. I would also add, Brian, we have a situation in this country where the banks, who are just private businesses, are basically deputized by the government to do all of this law enforcement work, counterterrorism work, anti-money laundering work, trying to detect drug traffickers. They do a great job, and they don't complain about it, and they put aside all kinds of money to do this because the government asks them to. But I think just as American citizens, we should be expecting the government to be doing this kind of law enforcement work, not having the banks do it on their behalf.
So what's being done about this? Tell me a little bit more about what Louisiana and our representation up in D.C. is doing to ensure fair access.
So there's a few things going on. The president has taken really good steps. Last year, he had an executive order which is going to end the use of reputational risk in bank evaluation, to make sure that people have fair access and to end politicized regulatory action. That's great. But I think to make it permanent and make sure that the next administration doesn't roll that back, you want to have something permanent that's passed in Congress. So there's a few pieces of legislation that have been introduced there, the FIRM Act and the Streamline Act, which deals directly with the bank secrecy thresholds that we talked about there, Brian. But then also Louisiana has done great work on this. We passed a resolution last year, House Resolution 316, which urges action to be taken at the federal level, make sure that there's a smart federal solution in place to end government-driven debanking. And that's a really good thing to do, because some states are trying to overcorrect. They're well-intentioned, but they're doing their own fair access laws, and that's just going to create a big patchwork of regulation. So it's better to do what Louisiana does, which is defer to and encourage the federal government to take permanent action.
We got about 2.5 minutes left with David Ibsen for Americans for Free Markets. What else are y'all working on?
Well, I think one thing that's going to be big for us coming forward is artificial intelligence and AI regulation. It's clear that we're in the middle of an AI boom, for better or for worse. It's coming. So we want to make sure that artificial intelligence is regulated in a way with a light touch, that it's implemented safely across the different states, but that there's a consistent regulated to ensure that there's proper innovation and that American companies can remain not just competitive, but in a leadership position in this emerging technology, while also making sure that fundamentally we're protecting free speech and we're protecting child safety and all that, because that's important as well. And the president has an AI action task force and an AI action plan that's supposed to create a framework for federal regulation. And just like how Louisiana has passed that resolution to make sure there isn't a patchwork of state regulation, I think it's going to be important in 2026 that artificial intelligence has the same framework. We don't want to have regulation in California, New York, Florida, Texas, Louisiana. That's just going to be make it impossible for companies to operate efficiently and coherently across state lines.
We're going to have
on
to
the AI.
Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'd also say on the AI, it's important to make sure that as we implement this, that it's free from ideological bias. You know, we've seen how the banking sector can be influenced by politicized regulators to make sure that certain people are denied access. You want to make sure that AI, and with everything that's done, it's amazing, but we want to make sure that there isn't kind of an ideological point that favors certain people because of their political or religious beliefs.
So you just scratched the surface, and this can have to be a separate discussion. We're gonna have to get you back on because the AI world in front of us, it has so much potential, and it all revolves around us not overreacting. He is David Ibsen with Americans for Free Markets. You check him out over at forfreemarkets.org. David, I appreciate a couple minutes this morning. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Have a good week.
You too. Absolutely. Good stuff right there. We're on the cusp of a lot. All right, quick break. Come back. We'll check roads up in the north next. North Louisiana. Not up north. North Louisiana, dickhead. All right. Galen says yet again the ICE shooting seems to meet the legal requirements of a good shooting. Victim was armed, refused to show his hands, and created an altercation with law enforcement. However, the video shows that his gun was removed from him before the shots were fired. All right. It's legal or not legal. It's going to leave so many people pissed off that it's going to incite more. Like,
because it keeps giving me like the wheel.
Do you have Medical Monday ready yet?
Medical Monday's ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably the last time we'll need Adobe within the show, right? Do you have Rodney's number, or is he calling in?
No, I have his number. Well, I record our interviews, Instead of pulling them all up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you might have to pull off of Sterlitz today. Which, by the way, we need to talk about tightening up the head and tail on those because it when I go to play them. Well, if you go listen to a interview online and I come back in from commercial and I say it's 6:35 or whatever, it's not 6:35 when they're listening. And then I tease what's coming up later on the show. It's the interviews need to be solely like self-contained.
Come on, Rodney.
They want an excuse for a George Floyd. That's why businesses are boarding up there. Yeah. It's just we're seeing it over and over and over again in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. Like Galen's not wrong, but there's so many more pieces to the puzzle than that. We might push him back to no 8:35 if we have to. Except I'm like 90% sure I've got something at 8:35. I just don't know what it is. Do you want to do yeah, Moral Dilemma?
We can. Let me yeah, let's go with it.
Okay. .652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, holding at 25 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We're hoping to connect with Rodney Mallett from DOTD right here. We might have to push that back to a little bit later on in the show, as here in Baton Rouge, not a whole lot went wrong. Not a whole lot going on. We'll check in with Clay Rives from MOSEP when we hit news at the right after news at the top of the hour for a more local angle. But I wanted to talk with Rodney about the roads statewide. What did we see from the winter storm all the way through overnight into the morning? So hopefully we can connect with him a little bit later on in the show. Right now, though, I tell you what, 60 seconds from now, we introduced a new segment. We call it Moral Dilemma Monday. We're going to hit that in just a little bit. Do need to remind you about the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. Printshop5.com is the website, 271-4096. Got to see Danny at the Guarantee Celebration on Saturday night. He got a nice little shout out during the celebration, and we got to see firsthand the work that he does. It was on display. Oh, it's saying the line. He's saying the line's busy. He's trying to call us. This year is going to be a huge campaign year. This year is going to be a huge election year. You talk about your normal midterm elections, right? 2026 midterms, right? You've got that. All right. You've got Cleo Fields looking to run for re-election. You've got a absolute wild, wild west about to stack up in the look at threes ringing. Wild, wild west about to stack up in the 5th congressional district. You've got a Senate race that is going to be just absolutely bonkers as well. And oh, by the way, many down ballot elections too. If you are thinking of running, you need to give Danny a call at 271-4096. 271-4096. Of course, that's area code 225. He can handle your signage. He can handle your door hangers, your brochures, your mailers, all of it. 271-4096. And don't forget, putting your brand, your logo on whatever kind of merch you got. All right. That, of course, is printshop5.com. That's 5 Star Printing and Signs. How are things looking? How have we fared thus far? Rodney Mallett with DOTD is on with us. How are you, sir?
Good morning, Brian. Things are going well.
Okay, that's a great start to things. I know here in Baton Rouge and throughout South Louisiana, we were, spared the majority of it. But let's look, north of Alexandria. Can you give us a breakdown? Did we see any? Was an ounce of prevention worth a pound of cure?
Well, I can tell you, we work around the clock, putting out de-icing agents and doing everything we could to keep the roads open up north. they got a lot more ice and snow and precipitation than us. So we have seen some. We have about 18 road closures, and I think they're all Alexandria North, Rapid Parish North. And we do have like some parts of the interstate which are treacherous and only one lane open. So if you do not need to go on I-20 today, I certainly wouldn't do it.
I-20 was the one I was going to ask about the most. Now, you said a one lane open and treacherous, but one lane open is still open. Is anything completely shut down?
Well, there are sections, like especially of the elevated sections on I-49 up in Bossier and Shreveport area, and then north of 220 going toward Arkansas. There's some closures on those bridges up there. And mainly, a lot of that, we knew that we were going to close those. Those do ice over, and there are at-grade routes nearby. So it would not be a terrible inconvenience because most people shouldn't be out, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't think there's anything closed that was not expected to be closed.
We're talking with Rodney Mallett from DOTD. Yeah, Shreveport showing kind of the most activity, but Shreveport kind of being the biggest hub of all of it as well, Rodney. And yeah, we will stick with, if you don't need to be on the road, please don't be on the road. But for those that do have to get out there, tell me, you said up to grade roads. What does that mean?
On grade. No,
on
they're
grade,
not
sorry.
elevated. Yeah. So like, you know, like if you're driving, when we close I-110 in Baton Rouge, it's because most of it's elevated, and you can get to the airport or you can get to Southern if you're taking like airline in Florida and some of your surface streets that are not elevated or just have the overpasses that are elevated. And so we can keep those open. It's easier to keep those open by, you know, de-icing agents than it is that entire 110 elevated highway. And that's kind of what they're doing up in the Bossier Shreveport area. The I-49 that is elevated, they can go ahead and close that and then keep the at-grade on-ground roads open.
Got Rodney Mallett from DOTD for just another couple minutes, talking a little bit about what went down in North Louisiana as far as our roads were concerned. Rodney, am I seeing this right? The further east we go, the better we're looking, though. I mean, when you talk about I-20, it spans the width of the state, and it looks a lot worse on the Shreveport side than it does by, you know, on the eastern side of the state. Did we get a little bit lucky on that front?
We did, and Monroe does not have the elevated portions like Bossier and Shreveport, so they were able to keep a lot of that open. So yeah, Monroe did real well, and then of course our rural areas, they were able to keep most of their roads open. And you know, the closures, like I said, that we had, those are not the ones that were unexpected. Kind of what happens up in the northwest corner of the state. They have this happen more often than we do, and they can keep it.
Oh yeah. To be sure. Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about cleaning things up and getting things reopened again as we make our way through today. Obviously, when the sun comes out, it's not going to dry it's not going to melt a whole lot because we're not going to be above freezing too much today. We'll get up there a little bit, but having this concentrated, basically, I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but having things basically concentrated to I-20, I mean, does that make y'all's job a little more focused?
Oh yeah, we've been sending our resources from the southern part of the state up there. We've sent people. We cleared out our salt dome over there off of Airline to send more additional salt to our northern parishes. So yeah, once the sun comes out, that's really going to help a lot. Even if it doesn't get above freezing, it's still going to help us as we try to get past this. And I know you guys have seen the video from state police of the tree that was falling because of all the ice on it. We do have a lot of folks up there in the northern part of the state running the routes, trying to clear some of those trees and limbs that have fallen on the roads up there.
And I'm sure more will pop up in more rural areas as people are out and about. In the meanwhile, we always appreciate the time and the update. He's Rodney Mallett from DOTD. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Good talking to you.
Likewise. It's 7 o'clock. Here comes news. All right, Galen says the whole thing played out very fast. Officer yells gun, struggle continues, and he was shot all within a couple to 3 seconds. It is sad this guy died, but he made very poor choices. Okay, I agree with all of those things. All of those things are true. It did play out fast. That is factually accurate. That is not subjective. That is objective. The part where it gets hairy is, do these ICE agents who have been recruited under, like, you've heard the ads to recruit the ICE agents, do they have the proper training to know how to handle these situations? I don't think they do. They're recruited basically through a rallying cry of, like, do you want to throw brown people out of the country and make a $50,000 bonus? That's the recruitment. And you can't tell me from the time that they're hired to the time that they're on the street that they're properly vetted and properly able to, like, they're not properly trained for all this. And this is, by the way, and like, Galen, when you zoom out, the number of incidents is remarkably low considering the number of confrontations. Like, yeah.
Sunshine will return today, but don't expect temperatures to rise much. Highs should reach the upper 30s and wind chills will stay in the 20s. Another cold one tonight is
But yeah, the guy who's out there to film and the guy who's out there to agitate, that guy right there, he should expect something's going to go sour. Something's going to go south.
Meteorologist Dave Baker with your storm station forecast. WBRZ Channel 2.
45 days of training seems okay, but the man that shot him was an 8-year veteran. Okay, I did not know that part about him. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. We are starting off the 7 o'clock hour at, did we dip down? 24 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We're broadcasting live from the 180 Pro studio. We've got your Medical Monday coming up this hour. We've got Mary Beth Derrickson from La B coming up this hour. But as we are, did I say we're broadcaster from the 180 Pro studio? Yeah, not your IT provider, your IT partner. Check them out at 180pros.com. We are going to throw out top stories in trending this hour because, well, the top stories are all about the freeze, all about the closure. The trending is as well. So let's get a firsthand look at what's going on here in Baton Rouge. I think we did pretty well. Clay Rives with Mosep is on the hotline. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Glad to have you on this morning. Okay, give me the overall, assessment as of 7:06 on a Monday.
Yeah, just like you said earlier, we were spared. We were looking at the forecast coming into last week and through the weekend. It kept getting better, and going out on the roads this morning, we fared very well.
The separation of rain versus freezing, I mean, that obviously helped. We had a good 12 to 13 hours from when the rain stopped to when the temperature dropped below 32. That played a big part of it. But what I wanted to talk about here was the prep that goes into it, because I think when you have a situation like this, I don't want it to fall to the wayside that we still have a playbook to run.
We do. We err to the side of caution. I mean, in emergency management, that's what you really have to do. We were looking at the forecast. It looked like it was, the possibility of our roads and ice. We had our DOT folks actually last night in the northern part of the parishes. We had about 22 bridges up there that we were concerned about. So we were out putting sand and salt on those. We can't do that too early. We got to do it right before. So, the timing is always the question.
Right. So map that out for me, because the way this played out, I mean, was there enough of a window to maybe opt out of icing some because it just proved to not be needed?
So we were getting reports from in our region, was mainly Point Capee and West and East Feliciana. We were looking at those folks, and they had sleet coming down last night. So we were like, well, if that line keeps moving south, we need to be prepared for that. We got roughly almost 3,000 miles of roads in East Baton Rouge Parish. But what we were really critical, we did some at the airport. We assist the airport to make sure they stay open. Don't know if you know this, but the airport never closes. The airlines may close, cancel flights, but the airport never closes.
Absolutely.
Go
Continue.
ahead.
Sorry, continue.
And then, we've been working with our critical infrastructure. When it gets cold like this, we look at our lifelines. We know we may have some power outages. Fortunately, we don't have that many right now in East Baton Rouge Parish. We look at transportation and water systems. We're very fortunate on all three of those. We have some other areas we look at, like our critical infrastructure. We know that the Exxon Mobils and those folks along the river, they go on their cold weather plan just like we do. And so I've been working with those folks to make sure everything, stays running and we don't have any issues that we need to address.
Talk with Clay Rives from MOSEP about, the preparation that goes into a freeze like this and, how we've kind of dodged a little bit of a bullet. Clay, I know that it's been something that's been heavy on the mayor's heart since he took office. Want to ask about the homeless population and whether any outreach was, because I know during last year's blizzard, that was the mayor's first stop, was all the different homeless shelters to make sure that everyone who could get help got help.
So we've been in constant communication. We have St. Vincent de Paul and Salvation Army that really take care of our homeless population. We did not exhaust those resources. We had last night we had like 6 beds still left in the female dorm, and we had in the teens and in the male dorms. So those folks got out. They do this every day. They call it Volunteer Agencies Active in Disaster, but they're active every day. We also will have the main library on Goodwood open today from 9 to 9. We have some volunteers going there, our law enforcement folks. We have some social workers. So anybody that needs just to go warm up, that's going to be open today as well. But really, St. Vincent de Paul and Salvation Army play a key role in this. We do have some other shelters identified that we could have opened if we needed to, but again, we have our law enforcement folks out there visiting I would say conducting welfare checks on homeless encampments and bringing those folks to these shelters before nightfall.
Clay Rives from MOSEP, our guest for another couple minutes here. Clay, want to ask, you don't want to sound the all clear alarm because we're going to dip below freezing for the first half of this week, every single night, but it's most of this, the overwhelming majority of this is in the rear view. What contingencies are out there, or what possibilities are out there of things that could continue to go wrong as we move forward?
So when we have cold weather, our biggest threat is fire. So folks that you heard, if you listened to our news conference the other day, or even the governors, you had Brian Adams, fire marshal, and you had Chief Kimball talking about, make sure you have a working smoke alarm. You really need that. And we also have folks that will go into abandoned houses, try to get warm. They'll light a fire and it'll burn the place down. So just be very careful about that. Plus, if you are losing power, we're fortunate right now, we haven't lost a lot of power in East Baton Rouge Parish. But if you're going to use a generator, make sure that it's away from your home so that carbon monoxide doesn't become a risk.
He is Clay Rives with MOSEP. I love a good news update, Clay. But I don't ever want it overlooked. That the game plan does have to be implemented and carried out beforehand. So kudos to everybody working with you out there.
Yeah, so it's a big team, and it takes everyone, even you, Brian. Getting the message out. That's how communication is the best piece of all of this. And to stay informed.
He is Clay Rives. Appreciate a couple minutes this morning, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. I believe we're at 711 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We got Medical Monday coming up next. Before we break for Medical Monday, I do want to remind you about the folks over at 180 Pros. 180pros.com is their website. 180 Pros, not your IT provider, your IT partner. What does that mean? It means a couple different things. First and foremost, it means exactly what it sounds like: partnership, someone you can call, someone you can rely on, someone who bases their success off of your success. These two things are intertwined. What else does it mean? Simplified billing. Now, if you step away from IT specifically, simplified billing is always a good thing. having one rate cover the whole thing, having one page invoices, this is a good thing. Not being nitpicked for each and every nickel and dime throughout a line item, each line item through an invoice. Simplified billing is unbelievably convenient and unbelievably user-friendly. Learn more at 180pros.com or give them a call, 225-330-2200, 225-330-2200 for 180 Pros. I don't have internet. I know. I don't know if it's my laptop doesn't connect every time or I keep getting.
So when I go and I track for Tiger off of my iPad, my internet goes in and out all day. In BT3,
I think it's everybody. Like, all right.
There have been times where I had to get on my own hotspot.
Yeah.
Strong schools start with great education, rigorous learning, and programs that meet students where they are. Families have real choices. Schools get stronger, and kids have better opportunities to succeed because one size doesn't fit all. Learn how you can help build a stronger future at brallianceaction.org.
Now, a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
So far, every municipality that's woken up and checked in this morning has reported ice-free conditions. So overall, the news is very good all across South Louisiana and Baton Rouge area included. No problems with ice. All major roadways are open and passable. Now, it's not to say you might not run into an isolated patch of ice here and there that could develop, but overall, we're in very good condition. I'm Ray Romero. This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
You want me to just go straight to medical?
Yes, it's got the intro on it and everything.
Come on.
I know that's why I asked that you moved over to Sterlitz to record interviews today. All right. So is it completely locked up?
It'll stop. It'll.
All right, let me come back in then. 7:15 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Power outages. You heard Clay Rives mention it. We'll get to it in just a little bit, but right now is the time of the show where we hit up Medical Monday.
It's time for your weekly checkup. This is Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
Yes, it is time for Medical Monday, and January is Blood Donor Awareness Month, a time to recognize the life-saving impact of blood donorship and to remind our community that the need for blood does not slow down even after the holidays. We are joined right now by Jay Thomas, the manager of the FMOL Health Our Lady of the Lake Blood Donor Center. He's here to talk about blood donation, especially why it's important around this time of year. Jay, welcome back. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, Brian. Hoping you're having a good New Year.
Absolutely. We're off and running for sure. Which means the holidays are in the rear view, of course. And let's talk a little bit about why does the need for blood donation remain so critical around this time of year? It's just shorter. I got to cut.
Sure. Well, besides
Friday,
everyone being
Thursday,
busy
Friday.
during the holidays, where we see
you know what? I don't have
slow down in donations. This
product.
year, we've been really impacted by flu in our community, and our donors have been hit very hard. Every day that we're calling to recruit donors, we often hear that they're unable to donate due to lingering effects of flu. So it's been a little bit of a slow start to the year.
Wow. I mean, you never think about the impacts like that. We always think about like when from the need end, not from the supply end, to be sure. That is a big impact. Flu's been hitting everybody this year. Early in the year, what factors can affect, aside from the flu or colds and whatnot, what can affect blood donation levels, and also what blood types are typically in demand?
Sure. Typically we will see an increased number of trauma cases around this time of the year, especially heading into Mardi Gras season.
Oh.
and that will put a heavy burden
when we had
on our type O
where
negative red
just
blood
hitting
cells
play was
and
the
our
next step,
platelet
but
inventories, which
everything else on the
obviously we lean on heavily
on pause.
in a trauma
we're done with
situation. So
that,
those will
like,
have
the
a
need for it
tremendous
in the second.
impact on our inventory.
Well, and as far as the blood type that's in highest demand,
Type O blood, just
Yeah.
like always. Every time, it seems like every time we have this conversation, we're talking about the critical need for type O, specifically type O negative and platelets. Type O blood is used to begin immediate treatment when we have a trauma situation come into the emergency room, and so we'll reach out to give that patient the type O blood. And while we concurrently work on determining that patient's actual blood type, having a healthy dose of type O and platelets products in our inventory has better outcomes for our patients.
I'm sure anybody in the audience who's heard this segment before, or specifically heard you on before, already knows the answer to this. But why is type O in such demand? Why is that blood type in particular needed more than the others?
So type O blood is the first blood type we will reach for in a trauma situation. So when a patient comes in, we don't always have a history on that patient. And when we don't have a blood type, we can give that type O blood and those platelets. Even if we don't know their blood type, they'll be safe for transfusion, and that'll buy us some time while we treat the patient to determine what the actual blood type is and continue the treatment with the patient's actual blood type. But that just buys us time while treating the patient and making sure the patient has what they need. That's why type O is so super important.
So when it comes down to it, I mean, the type O is adaptable to everyone else. Is the bottom line on that front. What kind of time frame or usage do we look at here when making that determination? Like, say someone's coming into the ER, like what's the turnaround time on that? Because it kind of paints a better picture of how much type O is needed.
Well, obviously that can vary from case to case, depending on the severity of the trauma. But typically, as our teams prepare for the trauma, we'll have packages of blood ready at the bedside to begin immediate treatment with the patient.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we do is get a sample of blood at that time as soon as they come in. And so within, say, 20 minutes of that patient arriving, we will have determined their blood type and begin to transition them to to the type specific blood that they need. But depending on the severity of the trauma, that patient could use 1 unit or could use 10 or 15 units in that small amount of time.
That is pretty remarkable, to be sure. We're talking with Jay Thomas. He's the manager of the FMOL Health Our Lady of the Lake Blood Donor Center, as January is Blood Donor Awareness Month. Jay, I want to stick with that, though, because when you talk about that level of demand, that level of need, there's a lot of people that probably want to donate but are a little bit unsure, maybe hesitant to start off with. Can you walk the listener through what the blood donation process looks like and how, first of all, how donor safety is prioritized? We'll get some other issues later.
Sure. First of all, we want to make sure donors, if they're thinking about coming to donate, 2 things. Bring your ID with you and make sure you eat and drink well before donating. Donating blood is not like having a lab test drawn, where the doctor will typically tell you don't eat or drink anything before your lab test. No, we encourage donors to have a healthy meal, drink plenty of water and fluids before they donate, because that will actually help stem the possibility of them having a reaction during their donation. Now, during their donation, they'll come in, they'll do a short interview process that takes about 10 minutes to determine if the donation is safe for the donor. That's one of the things that we're determining when we're asking all of those silly questions before donation. And then if they're determined to be eligible, they'll be escorted back to the donor area.
Mm-hmm.
where the donation will occur, which usually takes about 8 to 10 minutes. And the whole time they're there, they'll have our team members by their side taking good care of them to make sure everything goes well.
I can speak to experience from that good advice about eating and drinking something beforehand. I may have walked down that path the wrong way before, and truth be told, I just fell asleep in the chair. And they let me, finished everything up and just let me rest until I woke up. And I was like, "Where am I?" They're like, "Oh no, you just gave a pint of blood. You're good." So. I have the firsthand experience. It's a mistake you make once and never ever again, to be sure. So, and by the way, as easy as the process was, I mean, it's a testament to how easy the process is, because I literally slept through it that day. For someone donating blood for the first time, what should they expect before, during, and after?
They'll expect a little bit of paperwork. We're going to ask a series of questions to determine if they're eligible to donate and determine, if it's safe for them. Like I said before, the actual donation process itself takes about 8 to 10 minutes. It is a little bit of a needle stick in the arm, but, they haven't developed a better way for us to get blood out of the human body yet. But as soon as they do, I'll be first in line to make sure that we can provide that for our donors. But what they should expect is after they donate, they may expect to feel maybe a little more lethargic during the day. So we always encourage them to avoid any heavy exercise right after donation. We encourage them to eat well and avoid alcohol for about 4 to 6 hours. But other than that, if they are well hydrated and they eat well before they come in, they shouldn't really have a lot of after effects from the donation. And my team works really hard to make sure that the process is very comfortable.
We're talking today with Jay Thomas. He's the manager of the FMOL Health Our Lady of the Lake Blood Donor Center. It is part of it's part of Blood Donor Awareness Month this month. So walking, or I should say, keeping on that path, while we're talking about what to expect when donating and what hesitance people might have, what are some hangups that are out there? For example, January, we got colder weather. Seems like everybody's been sick from something lately. Are there factors that affect blood donation for a yes or a no?
Absolutely. Environmental factors. This weekend our area is preparing for possibility of a winter storm coming through. So my team has been preparing a lot for that and trying to motivate donors to come in ahead of the storm. And obviously we'll need donors to come in to recover from that storm. So we're not adverse to environmental factors. And we talked about the flu and its impact on the availability of donors coming in. So we're just like any other business or industry. Everything that affects our community affects us.
Absolutely. Getting back to the illness part of that is, if you've got the sniffles or whatever, would that be a hindrance to donating? What does it take to get turned away?
So part of the physical screening prior to donation, we'll check your temperature. We'll check your, do a mini physical on you. And the very first question, Brian, is, are you feeling healthy and well today? And if the answer is to that, if you cannot answer that yes, then what we ask is that you just, wait a few days. When you're feeling better, come in and donate then.
And before we get you out of here, Jay, and I greatly appreciate your time this morning, what is the best way for individuals to schedule a blood donation with FMOL Health at Our Lady of the Lake?
Great. They can give us a call at 225-765-8843, or they can visit us online at www.fmolhs.org/giving. We also have a free mobile app that's available through the Apple and Google Play stores. They can sign up for an account and schedule through their mobile devices at their convenience.
He is Jay Thomas with Our Lady of the Lake. Thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you, Brian. You guys have a great day.
You too. 727 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Always appreciate the partnership with Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady and Our Lady of the Lake as they hop on with us every Monday. Hey, I'm going to check in on some power outage numbers here in town. Not really that big a deal, but North Louisiana, the numbers are pretty staggering. I'm going to do that in just a second. I do need to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. Yes, we're in the midst of a freeze, but yes, it is also carnival season, and Mathern's has got you covered. Your King K headquarters would be Mathern's at Kenilworth. They've brought in all the best from all around. They brought in the Haydels, the Ubigs, the Joes. Oh, we got a Joe's the other day. Highly recommend. It's a donut, like it's a deep fried king cake, but super duper good. And yeah, it didn't even get a filled one. Got I don't want to call it original because it's deep fried. But Joe's Cafe, they've got the Nona Randazzo's, and of course they've got all their king cakes as well. Original, filled, specialty, you name it. And of course, full service grocery store. Highland at Kenilworth, Highland just west of Kenilworth. LSU campus right there in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. And once it's time for parades to roll, you'll find Mathern's downtown on 3rd Street, right there, nestled between 3rd and 4th. And the 4th Street side of this, where their parking lot is, that entrance is 1 block away from the parade route. So anything you forgot along the way, Mathern's has got you covered at all 3 locations. King Cake headquarters at Kenilworth, your parade headquarters is downtown. Now, before we get you to news at the bottom of the hour, do need to give a quick look here at the power outages and whatnot. I've been giving this a look, and there it is. Okay. SWEPCO is that's the primary power provider for Shreveport, is currently looking at just shy of 35,000 customers without power right now. 35,000 within SWEPCO's overall region. Now that sounds bad, but it's more than just Shreveport. It's all the way down the line that SWEPCO covers. There's 751 different outages reported right now. 751 reported that covers that close to 35,000. You said I have 1 minute? Okay. Here in town, if I could bring it back in, within Entergy's realm, there's just little bitty pockets, like little 2 outage here, 3 outage there. I know it stinks if you're within that, but the numbers are unbelievably small here in Baton Rouge. Now, moving up with covering Entergy, moving up to Monroe, things are looking pretty red on the map in Monroe. I don't have an exact number for who's out in Monroe, but it's well over half the city. So we're at 7:30 at Talk 107.3 FM. Let's go ahead and check news, traffic, weather. We'll talk with La B next. I hate not having internet, or at least no. I would like to have the LAN that I have. It's in and out. So what happens is when it blinks out, my atomic clock just is synchronizing. So it just sits there synchronizing like a bastard. So
Mary's calling me.
I think so. Yep. Her numbers are wrong. It's 34,000 and change. Why would she round down? Sounds like Colleen. Sure. Inkster Show gets proper attribution. You get audio from this show. It's not to be heard. Oh, man. So one of the other reasons I was so emotional Saturday night was the shout out for the mayor. I mean, that guy, Brian Haldane, saved me. I'm like, no one did.
I know. When he said that, I was like...
But I was so overcome with that, I didn't hear what he said next. He says, every time I want to know what I thought, I listen to Haldane.
I know. And Christy's probably like taking it all in too. Yeah.
So 11, 12, 13, also 4, 5, and 6. We're really going to push the envelope here and get every last ounce of Adobe before it just shits out on us and dies.
It's the whole damn.
Yeah.
I swear it's the whole thing. It's like,
Well, get with Michelle right after the show then. Because like that when I'm in DC, like we can't. I can. Oh, she says she's calling right at. Says user busy when I call the studio. That's just, you're the second one.
Remember that happened Friday.
No, it happened with Rodney this morning too.
And Friday, yeah.
Ooh, the lack of heater. Oh, my legs are cold already. No, it's not bad. There she is. There she is. There she is. Oh man, that thing is powerful.
Yes, ma'am. We'll come to you in less than 2 minutes. We're all gonna die.
I mean, .736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We've been telling you all morning it's two shows in one this morning as we're covering the freeze, which for the most part here in Baton Rouge, we did all right. We did pretty good. We talked with Clay Rives from MOSEP, the Mayor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, earlier this hour, who broke it down for us where, an ounce of prevention's worth a pound of cure, and we really were spared the worst of the storm. So we will be doing some freeze stuff and some normal Monday show stuff. One of those normal stops on a Monday is with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Mary Beth Derrickson joins us now. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Brian. I'm staying warm. Okay. How are you doing?
Close to warm. It's no, we're doing just fine on this end.
Awesome. I hope you have a fireplace in the studio this morning.
So I have, the old phrase, they don't make them like they used to. I have a space heater that I think is from World War II, and this thing cooks. And like during the last segment or before the last segment, we moved it from my side of the studio over to Brie Lynn's side of the studio. And already I can tell the difference where I was super duper toasty. Now it's just normal toasty. So this
Okay.
little bad boy will melt your face.
Well, that's good on a day like today.
Absolutely. Y'all got a lot going on. Y'all got a lot done over the last couple weeks. Talking about workforce and second chances and the like. Walk me through this last few weeks, which y'all been working on.
Yeah, it's been a busy last week or so as we gear up for session, but we're also working on some other things, and that is the importance of reentry investment and second chance hiring. So Lobby was honored to host and kind of facilitate a discussion with the House Criminal Justice Committee last week. We had 2 jam-packed days. The first day we went to Angola to see all of the great education and workforce training programs that are happening on site there. And the committee really got to see the value of having mentors who are inmates teach other folks that are coming in the importance of the trades and making sure that when you do get released, you have a skill. And then we got to see all the things that they're working on over there. And the goal of the tour of Angola was to just really hone in on the importance of preparing these folks for a job after they get released. So to us, reentry is really a workforce investment. We know that over 900 folks are released every month in the state of Louisiana. So how can we tap into that untapped workforce population? But then that night we hosted Judge Fred Kerfassi, who's a judge here in East Baton Rouge. He's a reentry court judge. So the committee got to hear all about reentry courts and the value of those. And then on Wednesday, they hosted a hearing. The Chairwoman Villio hosted a hearing at the Capitol to really hone in on the importance of second chance hiring. We heard from Eric Lane with Jerry Lane Automotive, who hires the formerly incarcerated, the Parole Project, and others. And so it was just a really good couple days to focus on the workforce aspect of this investment and how we can help us as the Louisiana State Chamber looking for solutions on this front.
You mentioned a number right in there and you kind of flew right past it, but I really want to go back, highlight, put it in bold, and increase the font by about 20 times. 900 people re-enter the workforce every month. That's a big number.
It's a big number. And actually it's between 900 and 1,200 folks. So when we think about all the historic investment that's coming to Louisiana, we have Venture Global, Hyundai, Meta, CF Industries. All of those companies are going to need workers. So given that we have these people coming out of incarceration, how can we best prepare them for these jobs? And, to us, it's two sides of a coin. So obviously we want to strengthen Louisiana's workforce because that is a problem for employers, but we also want to keep communities safe. And we know that in order to decrease recidivism rates, we need to help pair these folks with a job is the ticket to not going back to prison and to stop the revolving door of the justice system. So I think as the chamber, we're trying to figure out the workforce element and the public safety element as well.
What's our batting average so far? Do we know? Do we have numbers of if say 1,000 are released in a month, how many of those are we able to find jobs for? And how many are we still struggling on?
So the data aspect of this subject is in the works. So right now we are working with LA First, which is housed under the Kathleen Blanco Center at ULL, and the Department of Corrections to figure out a way we can track these folks after they leave incarceration, because that's a huge piece of the puzzle that's missing right now is we want to make sure what we're doing is working. So that is in the works. That is definitely a problem that needs to be solved. So stay tuned on that front. But
this is a problem that's multifaceted because, number one, there is the job training side of this. There is that's a big part of it, but the stigma part of this is a factor as well. That's getting employers on board. Where are we at on that front?
Yeah, so we were lucky, like I mentioned, to hear from Eric Lane with Jerry Lane Automotive, and they were originally engaged by the Parole Project. And as you know, the Parole Project was founded by Andrew Hundley, who was formerly incarcerated himself, to create a way to successfully transition folks out of the prison system and into a job.
Right.
So that is a huge piece of the puzzle that we are working to solve. We do have a lot of lobby members that are second chance hirers, CB2, so Turner Industries. We have many more. And so I think what we're trying to work on is making sure employers know the benefit of hiring these guys. And so that's something that we will continue to work on along with our partners at the Parole Project and others. But Brian, I want to talk briefly about the reentry court aspect. Judge Fred Kafassi came to our dinner the other night, and this is a really interesting model that jurisdictions are not taking advantage of from across the state. So reentry courts are for those who have about a year left on their sentence. They can go into this program and obviously have a judge or have, the parole officers and everybody like that track them as they try to find employment, as they go through life before their sentence ends. And this is something that is fully funded by the Louisiana State Supreme Court, and just something that it's a staffing problem. Jurisdictions don't have a judge or the staff willing to take on another caseload. Mm-hmm. But this is something that we are advocating for with the expansion of reentry courts. So just something I wanted to bring to your audience's attention. I had not heard about what a reentry court is, why it's important, and all the things. And so I just think it's important as we continue to have this larger conversation that's going to be a big piece of the puzzle as well.
What does reentry court, does it play a role in just tracking, or does it play a role in when they get out?
So it plays a role. They still finish their sentence, mm-hmm. but they have to, I believe, take a plea deal on the front end, and then they can come into this program where they have mentors, they have people checking in on them. So they still finish their sentence, but they have the accountability piece before they get released, and which that's so critical, is having someone there to kind of guide them through the process and make sure they are doing what they need to do to be successful after they get out.
So a number of benchmarks along the way showing that they're Correct. Acquiring the proper, skills, job skills, those sorts of things.
Right. And so and again, this all of these issues is a workforce issue to us, because we want to make sure the goal remains the same across the spectrum. We want to make sure that they successfully reenter society, keep communities safe, but most importantly, get a good job to solve the workforce shortage and also keep them off the street and not go back to prison. So to us, all of this revolves around workforce investment.
We're talking with Mary Beth Derrickson from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Talk about reentry. Talk about reentry into the workforce and second chance hiring. Mary Beth, I want to be very clear, because this goes to the stigma end of it as well. This isn't for all crimes and all sentences, right?
No, I think when you look at, obviously we have some of the highest incarceration numbers in the country. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these folks need to be in prison and they don't need to get out. That's a fact.
Right.
But the people who are coming out, we know that 80% of folks who go into prison are coming out anyway. What we're talking about is for the people who are coming out no matter what.
Right.
So it's how we can pair them with a job, make them tax-paying citizens rather than tax burdens, because this is a money saver for the state if they don't go back to prison. This is not for the violent offenders who are, they're not going to get out or anything like that. These are for the people who are already coming out of prison.
And that's an important piece of the equation. And this is one where the Parole Project does such a good job. I'm a huge fan of the work they do over the Parole Project that went by their headquarters right here in downtown Baton Rouge. Went by their headquarters a little while ago to get a firsthand look at the work they do. And it is thorough, and it's literally God's work.
And Brian, they don't take everyone. This is something that you have to apply to. They're very selective with who they choose to let into their program. And I tell them all the time, I wish we could replicate their model statewide. But these are folks that they vet thoroughly. It's not just everybody gets in. And I think that's critically important. This is not something that everyone will have the opportunity to do. But we want to make sure that those who are coming out get the help and resources that they need.
Well, and the buy-in is so important on this, and the buy-in is important for the level of success, because if they took everybody, the numbers would not support what they're doing. But the fact that you have to actively seek their help, you have to actively seek their services, it shows that, you've got investment from the parolee.
Absolutely. And that's the key. It's those who want to make their lives better. It's those who want to get their lives back on track. Many of these folks haven't seen their families in decades, and they want to be better for their family, and they want to get a job. They want to do all the right things. And that's why I think their model is so successful. And so, again, we're trying to look for solutions on how we can replicate those kind of services statewide. They are a microcosm of they just do phenomenal work in the Baton Rouge area. But yeah, so that's kind of where we are as the chamber. We want to, this is a workforce issue to us. So how can we tap into this population and move the needle when it comes to lowering the number of folks going to prison?
So what are next steps? Is possible legislation in the upcoming session in the works?
Possibly, yes. I don't want to share too much, Brian, but you'll get the exclusive closer to session. No, we are gearing up for a very, very busy session on March 9th. But no, I might have to come back on the show and preview some stuff we're working on.
Absolutely. Or at the very least, when I'm out there for y'all's annual meeting.
Yes, definitely. We're looking forward to it. We love having you out there every year.
It is on the calendar before. It's on my calendar before it's on yours, I swear.
I
look forward to it every single year. In the meanwhile, she's Mary Beth Derrickson with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Do your best to stay warm.
You too, Brian. Enjoy that space heater.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll talk soon, Mary Beth. Always appreciate her time. We've got, 1 minute till we visit with the folks over at Your Money Now. And then we will continue the show. The show will keep moving. We got Moon Griffon coming up in the 8 o'clock hour as well. Hey, before we hit Your Money Now, do need to remind you about the folks over at Neurojust, Neurojust. That's how you spell it. Who needs Neurojust? If you battle with anxiety and depression and have been treatment resistant, meaning you don't really care for the sit down, talk it out therapy, it's not really working, it's not taken, and you hate the way the antidepressants make you feel, or you're seeing diminishing returns from them, give Neurojust a look at neurojust.com. They specialize in transcranial magnetic stimulation. This is it's an FDA approved therapy, non-invasive. There are zero side effects. And oh, by the way, insurance will pick up the tab. And oh, by the way, they show response rates in the upper 80%. It's like 85, 86% response rate. Want to learn more? Visit neurojust.com, Neurojust. Love the folks over at neurojust.com. If you want to see that anxiety and the depression just start to diminish and slowly return you to normal, neurojust.com. All right. I don't have anything for here. Let's go ahead and do Moral Dilemma Monday. Yeah, I know. A busy ass day today.
My little boy tested positive for flu A last night. I'm good though, because I've been quarantining him and lifestyling the hell out of I know. He woke up and he's like, Mom, I want to go take a nap. I'm like, I know.
So yeah, James got sick over the weekend and it got sick and clear all in the same weekend.
Aww.
So yeah, he temperature got up to around 101. Where's your boy at? 101?
102.1.
Wow.
If it would have got to like 102.56, that we were going to go in.
It's such a waste. I mean, you can test positive for flu and then what?
Right.
Have to overpay for treatments that don't do jack shit anyway?
It worries me because of the seizures, but yeah.
Wait, seizures?
They say if a temperature gets way too high, if a temperature gets way too high in kiddos, they run the risk of seizures.
Oh.
I know.
How old?
He's 8. So
Okay.
He should be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mama, why am I so sleepy? I'm like, go to sleep, baby.
You sleep through it.
Yeah.
Sleep through the whole thing. Poor James had the throat drip, so he was constantly getting spit rags and whatnot, throwing them away.
Poor baby.
I know.
I did Walmart delivery to get that the Binax, where it's COVID, flu A, flu B strip.
Uh-huh.
And I like swab, and he's doing this. He's like, I said, let me get your nose. And then like I looked and I'm like, ooh, that thing's flu A was strong.
Yeah.
He got it from school, I'm sure.
Probably. Well, I started taking my vitamin C on Thursday. In prep to go to DC. Like I go start a week out. Yeah.
You're gonna be shaking hands, talking to people, and
Mm-hmm.
That's very true, Alan. I have these like beads that have the mentholatum in them, and you put them at the bottom of the shower, and it opens like a hot shower, and it opens up your nasal cavities.
Yeah.
It burns, but it works.
$7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Told you 2 shows in one today as we're covering the freeze and the after effects of the winter storm. We did pretty well here in Baton Rouge. We're doing that, but we're also have our normal show. And well, normally an hour prior to this, normally at 6:50, we have what we call Moral Dilemma Monday. But we wanted to check in with Rodney Mallett, get the latest on the roads before anybody was out there. So we're pushing it back to right now, a little Moral Dilemma Monday. Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. In 2020, it was toilet paper. In 2021, it was gas. During the 2024 U.S. port worker strike, it was toilet paper again. Reading this from the USA Today. But winter storms, like the ones that rolled through the 2,000-mile wide winter storm that rolled through the country over the weekend, it appears to be grocery staples like milk, eggs, and bread. Panic buying isn't a new phenomenon, but it can be an annoying one, especially for those trying to grab a normal cart of groceries after a particularly bleak weather forecast. Following forecasts of extreme cold and major snow, photos, news reports, and social media posts showed empty grocery shelves across the country. Not just cans of soup or batteries that customers are stocking up on either. Perishable goods were flying off the shelves as well. So, Moral Dilemma Monday, do you panic shop? And at what point is panic shopping really just hoarding to keep things away from others? So let's start with, do you panic shop? Breland, do you panic shop?
I'm going to say a little bit. Normally, we do not eat bananas at all. But knowing that we had this weather coming through, I said, let's get some bread. Let's get some bananas. But I didn't get 18 loaves of bread.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I got the essential. So Do I panic buy? Yes, because I'm afraid black ice. I was afraid possibly potentially black ice. We couldn't get out, but I got a little. I didn't go overboard. I got a little bit.
Okay. All right. So I am not a panic shopper. Well, let's be very clear. When it comes to a storm, I'm gonna be here. So this is all up to the missus, right?
What does she need for the house?
Right. Well, no, she goes and gets it normally because she wants to make sure the kids are comfortable. So we don't panic shop as much as we like comfort food shop, you know? It'd be more like along the lines of like frozen egg rolls, chips and dips, a king cake, maybe.
Of course.
You know, we're gonna go along the lines of like just, you know, what was that meme that was floating around? I'm just gonna be all fat and sassy.
Oh yeah.
Right?
We're gonna eat cakes and be fat.
I don't understand it when you look at like, okay, all of the milk is gone, all of the water is gone. I don't understand that because
I don't either.
Especially like something perishable like that. If you are running the risk of, I don't know, power outages, why are you filling your fridge?
I've never been able to understand that. For hurricanes, people do that. They go after milk, eggs, all the lunch meat.
Yeah.
If you lose power, it's going to go.
Right. That's the part I don't understand. So, I mean, fear drives panic shopping.
Right.
And fear leads to irrationality. But at the same time, though, there's got to be some level of keeping your own head on a swivel to say, well, this doesn't make, I mean, in a freeze, okay, if the power goes out in a freeze, you're probably not going to lose everything because you just put it in an ice chest, put it outside. It's frozen outside, right?
Right.
So, but like the normal panic shopping, I do not get it.
And the morality that goes into this, you don't feel bad hoarding all that stuff from somebody else.
That's the other question, right? Is do you really need 14 loaves of bread? Like, nobody needs 14 loaves of bread.
The toilet paper?
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 like bundles of toilet paper. Do you really need that?
Yeah. I don't quite understand it. What about you? Do you panic shop? That is and by the way, not just do you panic shop, but give me the reason why. I mean, panic is kind of a self-explanatory answer right there, but give me the reason why. Let's talk about it over on Facebook Live. What did Alan say?
Go see what Alan said.
Sadly, it's always EBT people who do that. But, okay, but it's not just. I mean, even with a state as well prepared as Indiana, you would think people would be better prepared. I know. See, it's the hoarding for me. And you can't tell them anything.
Now I will jump in and say, Sam's, Costco, they will normally have a limit. Like when they know a storm's coming, like for Ida, for example, I knew I needed water for the house anyways, but I saw the sign where it says limit 3 cases per customer.
Yeah.
Which it's sad you got to do that, but yeah.
Well, so I remember with Ida, like the driving back and forth to wherever up 190, like we're not going all the way to Crotch Springs here, but like I was driving it was well past Irwinville to go find gas after Ida. And I made the run every single day. Had to make the run every day because I'm filling up like 3 5-gallon jugs with gas, but I'm seeing people in there with like 10, 15, 20 5-gallon or 10-gallon gas jugs. I'm like, dude, what are you running over there that like require? I mean, maybe you're making a run for all of your neighborhood. I don't know. I don't want to make the assumption, but like, I was making the run literally every other day. Every other day, I needed to refill on gas. But why would I want more gas in a container than I'm going to need? When the power comes back on, I'm not making these runs anymore. I don't have to run my portable generator anymore. When the power comes back on, I'm good to go. I only want as much as I need to get me through it. Otherwise, I'm just sitting there with like a crap ton of gas in the carport, you know.
I was sitting in that damn line near our house, Benny's.
Yeah.
I was sitting in that hall with wrap down freaking airline, and we would wait in that line to get gas for the generator.
Yeah. Oh no, the way the lines were here, it was actually easier. Airline to the Old Bridge, take 190, 190 out to past Irwinville.
I forget what gas station. I want to say it was racetrack right here, Airline and South Foster. I'm sorry, Florida and South Foster, that racetrack. They have a shooting. Scott was there trying to get gas to put in the little gas can, and somebody got in a fight with somebody and started shooting. And so Scott's like, fuck this, we left.
The Bloomberg Money Minute. Airlines are trying to get their schedules back on track with this winter storm putting
Buying extra booze is not a bad idea. It won't go bad, and you'll feel better if you run out of toilet paper when you drink it.
You got a point.
Matt says, we don't panic shop as much as prep shop, but what we need to get through a couple days until things settle down. Right, a couple of days. That's not 17 loaves of bread. That's not all the milk. And booze in winter, bad combo. There's always somebody every winter or every other winter gets drunk, passes out outside, and dies. No, well, this is Alan from Indiana Allen over here. So, yeah, Indiana Allen knows a little bit about Dennis Hopper's character in Hoosiers. How about it? Oh.
Alan, you have me wheezing.
Oh, we got Dave today, not Byron. That's why.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying that's why we don't hear.
.806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. Bree Lynn producing. We're mixing two shows into one today. We heading into the weekend, we wanted to make sure we were covered as far as the winter storm was concerned. Wanted to make sure we were prepped for freezing conditions and whatnot. So there's a little bit of that into the show. Also, our normal Monday show, which means Moon Griffon coming your way at 8:15 to be sure. And a whole lot of news at 8:35 as well. So we're gonna continue rolling right along. All right, we have got a like I said, the 8 o'clock hour. By the way, broadcasting live from the 180 Pro studio. 180 Pros, is it time for your IT to do a 180? Visit 180pros.com. This time every day, we do a little bit of this day in history. All right,
let's see. Pull up my sheet again.
Yeah.
All right. Which is interesting because I didn't know people hated it. But in 1784, Benjamin Franklin expressed his unhappiness over the eagle as America's symbol.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Ben Franklin thought the turkey should have been America's bird.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, it has to be the eagle.
No, I'm dead serious.
I did not know that.
Ben Franklin eagle quote. Let's see. He said it was like not a reputable bird or.
Come on.
No, I'm dead serious. Calling it lazy, a thief, and a coward.
Oh.
No, seriously. Ben Franklin's famous eagle quote is actually a letter to his daughter from 1784, where he criticized the bald eagle's character, calling it lazy, a thief, and a coward, and suggesting the turkey was a better, more courageous native bird, while he wished the eagle hadn't been chosen for the Great Seal. This was part of a witty jab at the it was part of a witty jab at the Society of the Cincinnati, as opposed to a serious campaign for the turkey. But no, he did not like the bald eagle.
I did not. Wow.
Yeah.
They didn't teach me that in history.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. 1887, ground is broken and construction begins on the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France.
Okay.
In 1924, the first ever gold medal was awarded in the Winter Olympics.
Really?
Yep. And it happened in France.
Nobody won a gold medal before this?
Nope.
Interesting.
And it was an American skater. I can't even pronounce the name, but yep.
What, did everybody finish second before that?
That's what I'm wondering.
I don't understand.
All it said was the first gold.
Right.
Interesting.
You all lose every year.
1954, groundbreaking begins on Disneyland. That's not the one in Florida. That's the one in California.
Yeah, I've been to that one.
Which one's better?
I don't know, because I've never been to Disney World. I'm one of those weird people in Louisiana who has never been to Disney World but has been to Disneyland.
Really? And
I
see,
think
I've
it's a
been
very
to
small
Disney
club.
World, not Disneyland.
Everyone has. That's the overwhelming majority has been to Disney World but not Disneyland. I'm the other way around.
Huh. 1962. The Twist by Chubby Checker.
Chubby Checker.
I'm sorry, Chubby Carrier, not Lafayette.
Wow.
Chubby Checkers, The Twist, was deemed impure and was banned from all Catholic schools back in the year 1962.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
By Bishop Burke.
Okay.
1998, fast forwarding.
Chubby Carrier.
Chubby Carrier from Lafayette. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, that's going to stick. Oh.
Okay. 1998, President Bill Clinton says, I want to say one more thing to the American people. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Miss Lewinsky.
Yeah. Really, really, really big pause right there. As if it were almost the start of another sentence instead of the continuation of the current sentence.
Right. 2003, American late night talk show Jimmy Kimmel Live debuts on ABC.
Super.
2005, Condoleezza Rice is sworn in as U.S. Secretary of State. 2010, the World Health Organization regrets claims that it has overstated the severity of the swine flu pandemic under pressure from vaccine companies.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That was 2010. And unfortunate, in 2020, on this day, Los Angeles Lakers basketball legend Kobe Bryant and his daughter, Gianna Bryant, dies in a helicopter crash.
Yep. Had that one down for the deaths right there. And yeah.
Let's see. 2022, Spotify removes Neil Young's music from its streaming platform after the singer-songwriter's ultimatum in objection to COVID-19 misinformation. No clue. I did not know about that.
Interesting. Hey, this day in 1950, India gained its independence from Great Britain.
Oh.
There's that one there as well.
Okay, let me see if I can get my birthdays tab to pull up. Okay, Joseph Quinn, 32 years old today, TV actor.
Okay.
Ellen DeGeneres, 68.
Yep.
That's all I got. What about you, Brian?
Oh, we got plenty more here. We've got Anita Baker, born on this day in 1958. We got actor Paul Newman in 1925. Take it back to 1880, General Douglas MacArthur. It's his birthday. Bob Euchre was born on this day in 1935. And Vince Carter, born on this day in 1977.
Moving over to deaths, Paul, known as Bear Bryant, American College Football Hall of Famer coach, dies at 69 on this day.
Also, gangster Lucky Luciano died on this day in 1962.
Oh, okay. That's all I'm really pulling up.
Lucky Luciano gets all like notorious gangster Lucky Luciano.
Oh, such a bad guy. Oh, well, actually, I was looking at Kobe Bryant again, so that's why I went,
yeah,
oh.
all right.
Okay,
That's
anyways.
fair.
Oh, okay, anyways. National Day today. Today is National Spouses Day.
National Spouses Day.
Yep, so you got to get another king cake for the missus.
Okay. Well, so I bought her the Joe's Cafe one from Mathern's, and it did not disappoint. It's a donut. I mean, it's a deep fried king cake, so
it's
not
gonna be good.
But there's levels to this, and it's up there. It's definitely worth the money, for sure. National days. You had Spouses Day.
Yep, National Green Juice Day. What else you got?
I got Peanut Brittle Day.
I saw that one.
So I like the Spouses Day better.
Me too.
Do something nice for your spouse today. 813 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Quick break. Coming back, we got Moon Griffon next.
For whatever reason, I can't find the LRN website. Because Alondra logged in as herself. Let me see. Let me try what.
And our food fresh, along with over $60 million in jobs for Louisiana residents and over $87 million in positive economic benefits to Louisiana.
Alan's been to Disneyland, but not Disney World. But like, you are not from Louisiana, though. So like in Louisiana, Disney World is the trek. It's the the pilgrimage, as it were. Byron says, never call anyone chubby carrier. It's the reason my FedEx guy breaks all my packages. Chubby carrier, get it? Oh, Jesus. Byron, I mean, the cold has gotten to you. That was a reach. Big reach. You gonna get Moon on?
On the damn radio network.
And I don't even know if she's in this morning, but good morning, Christy. Hopefully she's sleeping all morning.
She's off, right?
Yeah.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
There have been next to no reports of roadway ice throughout the region this morning, and all major roadways remain open and passable. Not only that, but since so many schools, government buildings, offices closed today in anticipation of the weather, we just have not seen a lot of traffic out there. So if you do have to be out and about, you should have no problem getting where you're going. No major accident spots on the board either. I'm Ray Romero. This report is sponsored by AutoZone.
Hey, Moon. Good morning. Oh, yeah. We staying warm. It was good to see you this weekend. Wait, what you said?
Oh.
Right. Okay, we'll come to you in just a minute.
Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Eight 16 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to visit, as we do every day. We talk about everything under the sun with Moon. We got him on right now. Moon Griffon, host of the Moon Griffon Show. You'll catch it 9 to 11. Well, soon to be 9 to noon right here on Talk 107.3 FM. How are you, brother?
Brian, I made it back from Baton Rouge in one piece. A big get together from Guarantee, and me and Tanya had such a blast. Seeing all the good things happening at the Guarantee broadcast. Big crowd, and I didn't know the whole story, and now I got like the rest of the story. Really impressed with what Clint and them have done, and all y'all have done, and the time everybody's put in. So, really good time. Got to meet a lot of people. A good group of people y'all work with.
Ah, it's amazing. We had ourselves a good little table there, man. We had, of course, you and me. We had Ag Commissioner Mike Strain and his bride, Scott Godan from Currency Bank, who was over there as well. So, and NK. So, like, what a nice little crew we were rolling with.
Yeah, I'm about to say that I think the Wives were the highlight of it, but yeah, if you want to throw us out there, that's pretty good. It was just unique seeing people, hearing stories, and then hearing Clinton's story how all that came about. It was a lot of fun for me. I know that me and Tanya enjoyed it.
Absolutely. For the background here, guarantee we celebrated our 100th birthday on Saturday night. Actually, we celebrated our 100th birthday all through the week last week. It was Tuesday was a day of giving, so we were at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. That was look, I just straight up had fun with that one, man. That was
that was
such
a lot
good
of
time.
fun. You know, even your producer came and gave me a hug and said, I was impressed. I mean, she even pointed me out in the crowd and said hi, and I thought she probably run for me, but she didn't. She came over there and gave me a hug, and I was humbled. How about that?
And then right back to filling bags up over at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. It's down. That's an assembly line right there, man. That is a science.
Yeah, they have got that thing down to a science, man. I tell you what, Brian, I've been to some food banks, but never one that big like that, run like that.
Mm-hmm.
And all food banks have probably run pretty good, but exceptionally well run. What I've seen at the Baton Rouge Food Bank, I just was. Everybody was kind of having a good time working. I think they were enjoying themselves, helping feed people. So that was kind of cool.
Well, it lends to the vibe we have around here, and this is what Flynn was talking about at the event on Saturday. Was it really is a family atmosphere? It's just I really thoroughly enjoy the people I work with. I started getting really emotional Saturday night when Flynn was talking. It was kind of overwhelming.
Well, you even got mentioned by the mayor president, so I thought that was pretty cool, man. You kind of got in the headlights, but I kind of loved it. I said, "Go ahead, Brian." I loved it.
I was definitely in my feels after that for sure. But now like Flynn said on stage, we celebrate Saturday, we rest on Sunday, and Monday it's back to work on the next 100. So let's get after it, man. We've got elections coming up. Actually, we've got elections going to be like every other month this year. We are going to be at the polls, I think, probably more than ever before this year.
Yeah, it's just the way everything with the closed primaries. You already had municipality elections up. You got that's thrown in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
You also have Brian, it's up to about a half a dozen representatives that had resigned to go do something else. And especially, Paula Pelosi Davis, one of my favorites. I'm just saying that they left. So you got all that thrown in the mix, and then you got to come back in the fall. We got constitutional amendments on the ballot in May. I think I'm right about that. And then you come back in the fall, you got the House and Senate races among maybe something else that I hadn't seen yet. So you're right. We're going to be voting a lot. At least I hope people will show up.
Well, yeah, we're going to have, we'll have the closed primaries in May and June. So yeah, we got coming up at the beginning of February, we've got a handful of races for state reps, and I want to say 2 state senators as well. And then in March, we've got Representative Davis's replacing the 69th district.
Yep.
And then it's May, it's June, and then, it's Katie bar the door after that, because who knows what's coming in November. Because you're going to have turnover. For example, when you have the District 5 race to replace Julia Letlow, it's trickle-down politics here. If Julia Letlow is moving over to the Senate race, that means you have to fill District 5. Well, so far, District 5 is being filled up with people who currently hold a job as a state rep or a state senator. So everybody who, like, I've had Dixon McMakin and Rick Edmonds on talking about that race. There's going to be a handful more. So you're going to have to fill their seats eventually too.
Yep. Yeah. So I find it odd, though. We got the 5th congressional district is a Baton Rouge versus Monroe race. Yeah. I don't think people in Baton Rouge want to give up that seat. Now, I know Julia Letlow had it, but she had moved to Baton Rouge. It was pretty smart on her part. From northern part of the state, live in Baton Rouge. But in this case, you're going to have somebody from Baton Rouge or from Monroe to win this. I'm going to be surprised if Baton Rouge is going to give this up. And that district is screwed up. I don't care what anybody says, because we won't get rid of the Cleo Fields district.
Right.
And that's my frustration of all this, Brian. Not one Republican, unless you know one, has came up to fight. We need to redraw that district. We tried to get them to do it last August, and they didn't listen. And so we're probably stuck with it. And I think that's a shame, because that district has messed up the 5th congressional district. Now, look, I lived in Monroe 35 years, but I'm originally from Plaquemine in the Baton Rouge area. I think that's 2 different districts, 2 set of people. They ought to have different representatives. I don't care if you brought Shreveport to Monroe. Baton Rouge ought to not have to have people from the north and vice versa. That's not a cut on anybody. I'm just telling you that district of Cleo Fields has got this whole thing screwed up in my book.
No, it absolutely does. And this is the points that you and I were trying to make before they flipped it to the new district are the points that are being made now as we look at it. Look, Moon, how many times were you told it's simple math? It's simple math. Well, it's not simple math. It never has been simple math. It's always been about the common needs and interests of that area. And when you don't have a geographical area, you can't meet common needs and interests. And oh, by the way, the capital city in the state of Louisiana doesn't have a congressional district. It has to share 3 different ones.
Yeah. And you know what? That area right there, I don't care if it's the south side, the north side, the east, or west side, everybody has a common deal right there. It's all a common deal.
Yeah.
Why do you have to have 3 congressmen? And you don't. But Cleo Fields District's the one made it happen. And it frustrates me, Brian, that not one Republican, and I'm going all the way to Mike Johnson, Congress, Kennedy, Cassidy, the governor, the House, the Senate, the police jury, the man, nobody's fussing about it. And nobody has worked their butt off to change this. And that's my frustration. So that tells me Republicans are happy with Cleo Fields being in the House. That's what it tells me.
I honestly don't think that's the case. I think I agree with all of that, except that I don't think they're happy with Cleo Fields. But they're obviously not frustrated enough to do something about it. So I don't know where we're at in the middle there.
Well, you pretty close to where I'm at. I'm going a little bit on the extreme side because I hadn't seen any of the people I just named say a word. And why not? Why not?
Right.
I mean, this we all in this together. I mean, I'd like to believe they didn't want the Cleo Fields district. It frustrates me that they ever got to that point. But that's a whole other story. And we don't have. Hey, Brian, one of the other things we were talking about today that I did want to mention is that Louisiana's education freedom ranking. So we went all the way to 9th. Okay. We went all the way to 9th, and because Cameron Henry doesn't want to fund the Louisiana Gator program, whether you like it or not, the state education freedom is now ranked as 33rd. So we went from 9th back to 33rd because part of these rankings include what you decided to do to change the direction of education. Part of it was the Louisiana Gator Scholarship Program to get some of these underprivileged kids into better schools. And so that helped our ranking. Now that we're probably not going to fund it again, the way it should be, we just dropped back to 33rd. And the reason why I bring up Cameron is he's the one who said we don't need to fund it. This is not good. So I don't understand what's the direction, because they passed it in the House and Senate, but when it came to funding, Cameron made sure they didn't get funding. So I don't know what's stopping that.
Interesting. Yeah,
remember,
me neither.
We got extra money, Brian. They just came out with the budget. We got extra money again. And I don't think it's that much. I mean, it's tens of millions of dollars. I understand that, but this is something they could fund. But Cameron came out and said no.
And I feel like with all the successes we've shown, with everything that Dr. Brumley's been doing, and I don't want to discredit everybody locally either, but like with everybody rowing in the same direction, we've moved our way. Like, why would success not beget success? Or why would success not beget confidence to create more success?
You know, Brian, you mentioned the fact about the locals. You don't want to not give them credit. Actually, if you talk to Brumley, and you have, Brumley gives everybody successful. He came in with a plan, and the local school systems jumped on board with it.
Right.
So it's been a combination of Brumley, the board, then it's been a combination of the state, now 68 different school districts saying, you know what, we on board, let's do it right. So I like to give credit from Brumley to teachers to the janitors.
Right.
And because there was an improvement, but if the funding stops on something that we need and we go down, we went back to 33rd.
Right.
And that's frustrating to me. I thought they were making such good progress.
Yeah, you would at least, you're going to see diminishing returns on how much farther you can move up, but you would think they would have at least held steady with the successes that we've shown.
But I don't know if he's going to give any more money, and that's my frustrating part. I mean, they did give some money to it last year, but it didn't even get close to where they wanted it. And we thought this was one of the one of the best rising areas of our state. Something to brag about, Brian. Something to say, hey, look, we're doing something right. Thank God, this is good. And then all of a sudden, Henry says, no, we slid because we're not going to fund it properly.
Yeah, you that which works ought to be funded first. I don't know why that's not the mantra. That which works should be funded first.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, one of the things that we knew about in education, we hung around 50th a lot. And then we got a big move up, and then we got to 32nd. and then all of a sudden we're going back the other way. I don't understand Cameron's thinking on this. I wish he would explain it better, but he hadn't even explained it to at least put us in a place to understand why he's doing it. Maybe he's got the right reason, Brian, but I haven't heard anybody explain it yet.
Well, hopefully it'll all spell out over the next few days, or at least before the legislative session, before they, so they can know where they're headed after this session, just to kind of re-up it. If at the very least, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, but you just hit it on the head. The session hasn't started yet. Deals are negotiated all the time. Maybe this is something that can be negotiated. I just know we've been in a good direction for a few years, and I hate the term step in the right direction, but we've actually made leaps and bounds in education, and I think our state ought to be proud of that.
No, couldn't agree more. We absolutely ought to be. But and this is also, well, there are, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for it here, but we budget conservatively, which we should do, and we have the way that our tax structure is built out. It makes it damn near impossible for the Revenue Estimating Conference to get their job done. So when you combine those two things, budgeting towards the side of fear, I guess, is what's going to rule the day.
Yeah, I know. I'm just ready for us to break out in a big way, and I hope that's what we do. If you listen to the Governor Landry's showing all the good things that are happening. The legislature's starting to do that. I have no problem with any of that. I think it ought to be, the story should be told. But we still have a long way to go, and I just want to continue that direction. I thought this GatorWorks program was all part of that in the education realm. So anyway, we'll see how it breaks out.
Yep. Well, you got a show to do in half an hour from right now. We always appreciate you hopping on board. As always, it's good to see you Saturday night.
You too, Brian. God bless. Thank you, bud.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Moon Griffon coming your way from 9 to 11 today. But starting in February, it'll be 9 to noon. So this is the last week of a 2-hour show right here. So we're about to broaden things out, expand it out. We're going to give you more local and state coverage when we do this. It was 6 solid hours. I mean, 6 a.m. to 9 with me, and then 9 to noon with Moon. Looking forward to the jump. It's going to be in-depth and thorough, and there's no shortage of things to cover. This is the right time to do it. I mean, when you look at everything on the election front, and I mean, everything we just talked about was just one topic that's going to be in the upcoming legislative session. So we'll have no shortage of content, to be sure. And now bringing you a 6th solid hour of breaking it down within the state between me and Moon. All right, we're at 8:30 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. We're going to pivot away from our guest list in just a little bit to talk about a couple of different news stories. Yes, that that U.S. Senate race. We're going to talk about that on the back end. Also revisit our coverage of the winter storm and the freeze, as it were. That's coming your way next. Right now, here's ABC News. Haggai. Yeah, it's good seeing you at the 100th birthday party, Haggai. I got to apologize to everybody. I had like maybe 2 minutes a person. It's making my way around. Having that many people there, you just want to tell everybody hello. Yeah. Yeah. But like I saw Danny Paline from 5 Star as I walked in, didn't see him the rest of the night. So Drake was there?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, there was way too much chaos going on. I couldn't keep up with it.
Did not know that Drake was there. Had no clue. Oh, snap. God, I'm so cold. Here in Indiana, everybody has a weird obsession of moving to Florida. Here I am being the only weirdo wants to move to your state. I don't look at it as being weird, Alan. I look at it as being a trendsetter, because with the work that Susan Bourgeois is doing over at LED, get ready for that. Buckle up. But I'll at the same time answer Kevin's question about what perked the idea. Snap. We good on the cuts? Okay. We're going to go 11, 12, 13 first. And then the politicals after that. There's Danny. Says we were at the same table you saw us first, met some great people, and the MC gave. Oh, the shout out was awesome. By the way, the work. Oh my God, the timeline things. I hope those go on display somewhere in the building because oh my goodness, it was absolutely awesome. Yeah, as you walked in, all those big timeline signs, that was Danny's team, and it was incredible. But yeah, there was aside from eating dinner, that was the longest time we spent with anybody the whole night. The rest of the night was 5-minute conversation here, 5-minute conversation there. Oh.
All right, the share drops down, which hence why I kept trying to open it this morning. It wouldn't open. I'm emailing you today's interviews.
Okay.
Share drops down completely.
Okay.
Michelle emailed us about it.
So nothing can get posted today.
No, I'm saving it to the desktop, but I'm posting it like that. But
Oh, okay.
the copy too.
All right. Well, yeah, as long as save them to the you don't have to email them to me. Save them to the desktop, and then we'll move them over once once the share drives up again. How are we looking at the airport? Or is our network still down?
Were you around still when Vicky started singing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we left about 9:45 to go over to the other party. So
Yeah, I found Christy. I said, "Where's Brian?" She goes, "Somewhere."
whoo! Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, wait, why are these canceled? Always appreciate her time. Now, how hard you just What's Danny say? My wife was wondering if I could get my head in the car after that. You should be, dude. Take a victory lap on that one. That was awesome. It's a good night.
Don't burn up. Shit.
Half an hour left. 20 minutes left. Whatever. Wait. I told you 11, 12, and 13? Okay, it's just 12 and 13. That's my bad. And then 4, 5, and 6 are still good to go. $8:37 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. I'm going to dive into a couple of different news items here in this segment real quick. Actually, before we do, let me remind you about the folks over at One Bath and Closets. David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets. We had them in. We went the bathroom route. So our house was built in 1964, and you know what? That's not unusual in Baton Rouge. A lot of houses built in the 60s and 70s in this city, and you know what? A lot of them are due for upgrades. And Christy and I decided, heading through last year, that it's time to take care of ourselves a little bit. Time to spruce up the homestead a little bit. We decided to start with the master bathroom. Call David at 400-8005. Of course, that is local, 225-400-8005. Call David over at One Bath and Closets. He walked us through the process, and we got rolling. And he held our hand throughout the entire process. And just absolute meticulous in detail. The craftsmanship, the work that they do is beyond perfection. We could not be happier as customers of One Bath and Closets. Now, we didn't go to closet route, at least not yet. We went the bathroom route. But if you need to look at refreshing, updating, bringing your home up to 2026, give Dave and his team a call at 400-8005 for One Bath and Closets. We have been keeping an eye on North Louisiana throughout the show this morning. In fact, we talked with Rodney Mallett from DOTD earlier in the show to talk about the roads. Well, what about what's going on with power outages? You heard the story from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network throughout the weekend. Utility crews statewide have been busy restoring power that got knocked out by the ice storm. We had, as of last night, about 80,000 Entergy customers without power. And SWEPCO had almost 30,000. The number from SWEPCO went up during the morning for folks who were without power. Michael Corbin with SWEPCO says crews are working around the clock to get power restored.
We feel like we'll have this all wrapped up certainly by Wednesday evening, if not sooner.
So where we're at right now with SWEPCO, as far as the number of outages is concerned, I should say where we were at about, oh man, I just refreshed my screen and it lost it. Where we were at about an hour ago was 34,000 customers without power. That was over the course of 700 plus outages reported. 34,000 and change were within that number. So SWEPCO still getting it done, moving as quickly as they can. Meanwhile, so SWEPCO, by the way, Shreveport and like taking 49 down, that's where you're going to find most of SWEPCO. As far as Entergy is concerned, you're not going to find Entergy in Shreveport, but you will find them in Monroe. And there are thousands upon thousands of Entergy customers without power right now. Monroe overall looks about 70-30 red to green. At Monroe and the surrounding areas, by the way, 70-30 red to green. So a lot of folks got hit in the Monroe area. Entergy's working as hard as they can, just like SWEPCO is. The Corbin says if you not just the 35,000 that are here, but SWEPCO's got about 70,000 customers without power in their 3-state service area. The majority, of course, are from right here in Louisiana. Corbin says, given the dangerous road conditions, crews were working pretty quickly and efficiently to get power restored as quickly as they could.
I cannot remember an event with so many outages that we were so well prepared for and were able to get power back on to people so quickly.
Look, we know how it is here in Baton Rouge, right? We know how it is when dealing with a power outage. You're just waiting for yours to come back. No matter how widespread it is, you're just waiting for yours to come back. Now, the good news is on the weather front that things look good today. It's sunshine today, maybe a light breeze, nothing that's going to stand in the way of those bucket trucks getting where they need to be. Nothing going to stand in the way of getting power restored at the best clip that they possibly can. That goes for Shreveport, that goes for Monroe. It also goes for right here in Baton Rouge, where we were looking at, I want to say it was just a couple hundred. Zoom in real quick, see if I can't find it. Actually, it's fewer than that. I mean, we're looking at a few minor pockets of power outages that affect 1 to 50 customers within those outages. I'm looking at right now 1, 2, 3, 4 different spots, and each of those spots is less than 50 customers apiece. So here in Baton Rouge, we got a whole lot of green, not much red at all. But like always, if you're one of those ones that is in the red, you're one of those ones who is without power. It gets exacerbated because you're just watching the clock, realizing it's cold out, and it's going to be cold out even further as we're going to get dipped below freezing again tonight and tomorrow night and Wednesday night as well. Going to pivot over. We wanted to talk a little politics here. Like I said, we were mapping the show out to be 2 shows in one on the weather, one on the normal Monday show. We'll revisit the president's endorsement of Julia Letlow in just a minute. You heard from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network just a little while ago talking about some of the takeaways from the presidential endorsement. We'll get to that in just a minute. Do need to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank, though. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. Been around since 1897. Yeah, that's a company that's been out there longer than we have at Guarantee. Been around since 1897 as a community bank. They started as a community bank. Here we are in 2026. They remain a community bank. What is the importance of having a community bank? Well, you don't just have a bank, you have a banker. You have someone that you see in the line at the grocery. You have someone that you see at the gym or at church or in carpool. You have someone who has a better grasp of where it is you are, where it is you want to be, and how to get you there because they're a member of the community. They're able to see you. They're able to shake hands, sit down, have a cup of coffee, talk things out, learn where you need to be and how to get there. If you want to learn more, visit landmarkbankla.com. And I'm talking about the personal banking, but I'm talking about the business banking too. If you're a small business owner, you already know the value of having a local bank. Learn more at landmarkbankla.com. Moving over quickly, we were talking about this a little bit with Moon earlier, and we moved on from it to talk a little more about education. But our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network reporting throughout the morning, asking the question, does President Trump's endorsement of Julia Letlow make her a favorite to win the U.S. Senate Republican primary over incumbent Bill Cassidy? Advocate newspaper columnist Tyler Bridges says this will be Letlow's first tough political race. Cut 4.
Julia Letlow has never run a tough campaign. She's not run statewide. She's untested, and she hasn't raised the money yet.
That is accurate. All of that is accurate. When she was first elected, we all remember the tragedy and circumstances surrounding that. She was first elected. Well, her husband was elected. She was elected in the 2021 special election after her husband was elected, and then he passed due to complications due to COVID. Then she won re-election in 2022. She won re-election in 2024. Quinn Hillier, columnist for The Advocate, says Letlow will not only face attacks from Cassidy, but also from 2 of the other major candidates in the race, John Fleming and Blake Miguez. Cut 5.
Fleming and Miguez both have raised a lot of money. Both of them are very aggressive, and now they are going to be incentivized to really bring their guns to bear against Julia Letlow.
Miguez, I'm curious about. Miguez has been relatively quiet thus far, and I know behind the scenes he's been hustling a lot, and I know he is at his core an absolute fighter. I know that Blake Miguez, when it comes to campaigning, knows how to get things done, knows how to make sure you know who he is. But that has been on the state rep and state senate level. This is a much bigger animal here on the statewide level. So the same problem that Julia Letlow has of moving from the 5th congressional district to a statewide race, Miguez has probably tenfold to move from the Lafayette area to a statewide race. The 5th congressional district, I mean, it is a jacked up district, and it covers more of the state than you would think it would because of how jacked up it is. And as far as name recognition is concerned, Julia Letlow has been an absolute rock star as the mama bear of the congressional delegation. So name recognition wise, she has a head start on Miguez, might even have a head start on John Fleming. John Fleming is going to be an interesting case in this race. Because while we went into the weekend seeing Julie Emerson drop out already, John Fleming is one who has a legitimate beef with not getting the president's endorsement because he worked in the White House. As I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, Deputy Chief of Staff is a pretty highly coveted position within any White House. For John Fleming to have held a position in the White House and then come back around this time, run for office and not have the backing of the place where you used to work, you've got legitimate beef there. So I would expect John Fleming to bring all things to bear in this race. And of course, this all boils down to us having a closed primary for the first time, which shortens the window for everybody to get everything done. It makes it shorter for Julia Letlow to raise money, but it also makes it shorter for others to attack her. May 16th is the primary in the closed primaries, with June 27th being the runoff between the top two candidates on the Republican side and I guess the top two on the Democrat side as well. So following Trump's endorsement of Letlow, Cassidy says endorsements aren't going to decide the race. Instead, the voters themselves will select the candidate with the best record. Tyler Bridges, back to him from the Advocate, says this will be interesting to see if Cassidy's strategy is going to work.
He's banking on a strategy of saying, I've done this and this and this for you. I brought billions of dollars for the state for new roads and bridges and infrastructure. I've done all sorts of things that show that I am the best candidate to stay in the Senate.
By the way, both Bridges and Hillier were guests on Jim Inkster show, Talk Louisiana, over on WRKF. So wanted to make sure we gave proper attribution for those sound bites right there. And yeah, this is going to be wild and hairy for the entire ride, because you are going to have, it's going to be a battle royale on the Senate side. And all the trickle down or down ballot races that are going to have, you're going to have all the congressional races are out there as well. And one of those congressional races will be for replacing Julia Letlow in Congress when she moves over or takes the attempt to move over to Senate. So it's no holds barred. This is going to be a battle royale. This is going to be WWF style, and I'm here for all of it. Multiple questions about, talk about funding. Multiple questions about funding. It is January 26th. We're looking at February, March, April, and then May. We're looking at 4 months away. How can you build up a war chest over that period of time to successfully grow your name and get the word out? And is this race now where it's going to be when we hit election day? We'll find out. Right now, we got a break. Here comes Your Money Now at 8:50. I gotta stand up.
I got that. Gotta stand up. Come get your heater.
I know. Rodney Mallett's a feature today, by the way. I know it's super short, but it's the news of the most importance of the day. Clay would be, but no news is good news, or good news is no news, whatever. Galen says, I see a lot of Facebook comments that Julia Letlow is a rhino. I'm not familiar with her voting record, but Republican in name only.
Because I've seen that. I just never knew what it was. Well, but give me an example of what Rhino does, I guess, or a Rhino would do.
Vote Democrat on different issues on the Hill.
Bye-bye.
See, my wife said, don't come home until it gets over 40. Then I won't be able to come home. So I'm going. Y'all be safe going home.
Later, Rich. You too.
Hey, B, you know what happened today 40 years ago?
Uh-uh.
You know what happened?
What happened?
40 years ago.
1976, on this day, the only time City of New Orleans ever hosted the Pro Bowl. Billy White Shoes Johnson, MVP.
No kidding. Wow. Okay.
Try it free. Try it free.
Looking for LSU talk on Tuesday night? Join myself, Jeff Palermo, Todd Horn, and Glenn Gilbo for Tiger Ray Brady every Tuesday night from 6 to 8 p.m. on Talk 107.3. We break down the games and major storylines involving LSU. That's Tuesday night from 6 to 8 p.m.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
We are not done with Brett, but so far so good. We've been moving nicely all around the region this morning with no major accidents, no breakdowns, no heavy interstate backups, and no roadway closures because of ice. In fact, every parish and municipality that checked in this morning and reported ice-free conditions, or at least nothing amounting to anything. So we remain in good shape all around the region this morning. All right, we're now.
This report is sponsored by Derrickson. Whoever said opposite track was definitely talking about you. Spicy flamethrower chicken strips.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center.
Relief Window. Experience, quality, and service. ReliefWindow.com.
.856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Programming note, don't forget tonight we got LSU women's basketball right here on Talk 107.3 FM. They are hosting Florida. That game time has been moved up by an hour. We were supposed to have coverage beginning at 6:30 with a tip-off for 7. Instead, coverage will begin at 5:30 with a tip-off for 6. Of course, Patrick Wright and Shada Williams will be on the call for the LSU Sports Radio Network. Your home for all LSU women's basketball games is right here on Talk 107.3 FM. I believe the Tigers have 3 home games over the course of 7 days. Then we will have them all for you. Of course, the earlier tip-off is to get people in and out quicker so you're home before it freezes again, as we will be back below freezing again tonight, tomorrow night, and Wednesday night as well. We were talking about that Senate race in the last segment, and I was going to close the book and move on. But I wanted to continue on with it because Galen posted up on our Facebook live feed. By the way, we're live on Facebook every day, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Lake Urgent Care brings you our digital, and that would include our Facebook live feed, as well as YouTube, where we're live there as well. Galen says, I see a lot of Facebook comments that Julia Letlow is a rhino. I'm not familiar with her voting record, but why would many call her a rhino? And, of course, rhino, R-I-N-O, Republican in name only. I'm going to give the definition there. Well, I'm happy to address the question because I am personally not a fan of the term rhino at all. Rhino means when you're called a rhino when you don't vote in lockstep with the party. And Julia Letlow's lifetime score is 75% with the party, up to 84, depending on who you're looking at. I'm looking at Heritage Foundation right now. HeritageAction.com has her at 75%. Other ranking scales have her at 84. Some have her higher. But Heritage says this session she's at 62% with the party. That's low, 62%. But what are they looking at? What are they looking at? And does the needs of Louisianans stray from the needs of the Republican Party nationwide? That's the question to ask yourself. Congressman Graves always ran afoul of the Republican scorecard when he would vote for coastal restoration measures, when he would vote for things that protect Louisiana's coast. It wasn't in line with what the party wanted, but it was in line with what his constituency needed. So there are times where, as a congressperson, your district comes ahead of your party. Right? Honestly, that should be all the time. But there are times when those two things are at odds. And Congresswoman Letlow clearly votes with her district more than she does. Well, I shouldn't say more than she does with her party, but votes with her district enough to where the Heritage Action wants to ding her for it. And I'm looking for some other scores. I know she scored as much as 84 on. It just depends on what scorecard you're looking at. I tell you another one. There was a time, pretty recently, in fact, where Senator Cassidy, who's also getting that label, had a more conservative voting record than Senator Kennedy. Now, those two things have ebbed and flowed and changed over a little bit, but there was a time where it was that way. So I look, sometimes the needs of the state outweigh the needs of the party, but that's how you end up with the label of rhino. Moon Griffon's next. We'll see you tomorrow. All right. I'm about to take my heater and go to my office and close the door and just bake myself. I'm going to bake myself at 350 for 45 minutes and then take myself out of the oven and frost myself like a cake. So we shall see y'all on the morrow. Toodles.